Okay, and hello everybody. Yeah, that came across my desk again this morning, and I remembered how much I absolutely almost forgot the music. I forgot how much I remembered how much I absolutely adored it, and I just knew I had to share it. Especially because, I mean, this game's so jazzy too. So, moving right along, case 2. 2 of 5. Okay, Wallace. Student 16. Necromancy. Let me go. I'm not going anywhere until I see her. Sorry, Wallace, but she's already passed. There was nothing more they could have done. No, this academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom. Are you telling me they couldn't do anything? Her condition was much worse than we thought. The kingdom's magic isn't advanced enough to treat something like this. Lucio Steelwind can rain meteors from the sky. William Frege can teleport entire caravans across the continent. Are you telling me your mages couldn't cure one disease? Sorry, I truly am. Emily. Ooh. Oh boy. This does not bode well. I'm sorry, Celeste, but there's no way out of it. Celeste's attention is sharply focused on the chessboard between you two. You can see her eyes quickly dart from piece to piece. Just give me a second. I can still win this. Celeste, there's no way for you to avoid checkmate next turn. Just surrender. She ignores you and continues staring at the pieces. There! What about that? Checkmate. Damn it! Would you two keep it down? We are in a library. Miss Timora glances at the chessboard. I hope you didn't spend the entire morning playing around. Bring that down just a hair, as good as it is. I've been working hard, Ruby. I've already learned 2 new spell formulas since we got here. Well, I turned it way too low. Well, at least there's that. What about you, Cuthbert? Well, your flustered stammering tells you exactly how much progress you've made. I couldn't find any books about the subject we've been looking into. You spent the entire day combing through the kingdom's imperial library, researching the Eye of Horus. During Celeste's trial, you awakened to a new ability that you've never used before. Up until then, you thought the Eye could only see surface-level thoughts. But during that moment with Garrick Pierce, the Eye of Horus was empowered, and you could see far more than usual. You told Miss Timora about what happened, and it made you both wonder what other hidden abilities the Eye might have. You both decided it's time to find out more about the Eye and its origins. This library supposedly held the kingdom's entire knowledge of magic and the arcane arts, but you couldn't find a single mention of any ability like the Eye. Does the kingdom seriously lack knowledge about it? Or do we need to look somewhere else? Are you sure you can't tell me what you're researching? I've traveled around the world. I might have seen something like it. You entertained the thought for a moment, but you haven't known her for very long. The Eye of Horus is a supernatural ability that cannot be detected by a spell compendium. You've always been wary about what the kingdom might do to you if they ever found out about it. Sorry, it's not something I could really talk about. Fine. If I had to guess, I would say they're looking into supernatural phenomenon. You and Celeste nearly jump out of your chairs. Oh! She's cute! You look over to where the voice came from. She appears to be a student at the academy. How long is she there? Oh, okay, hold on. Catch your fingers here. Completely bandaged. If she says her name's Emily, she's undead. Calling it now. How long is she there? You didn't notice her presence at all. You also feel like she looks oddly familiar. I'm terribly sorry if I startled you, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. As the girl approaches your table, you see another student frantically running after her. Yup! No, Eris. Eris, you can't just... I'm sorry. Oh, it's fine, Wallace. I'm sorry, but who are you two? Sorry, that was incredibly rude of me. My name is Eris Ilmater. Why does Ilmater sound familiar? It's good to see you too, Jay. And Ranter. Sorry, I didn't actually do my greetings. I'm glad to see both of you. Thank you for coming. And, Ranter, I hope that ribs go good tomorrow. I've just been excited to get back to this, I'll be honest with you. But Ilmater sounds familiar. And, like, specifically in the context of magic, too. And this is Wallace Nightgrave. We're both students here. Hi. Not to be rude, but that was a private conversation. So much did you hear? I wonder. Reading about the supernatural is actually a hobby of mine. I might be able to help you with your research, Mr. Cuthbert. And what makes you so sure that is what we were researching? That's where it was. Mr. Cuthbert has a bad habit of muttering to himself when he thinks. I assumed that his research had something to do with the supernatural. Okay, so her bandages go all the way up to her elbows at least, but not all the way up to her shoulders. Interesting. I don't know, this girl puts me in a... This girl sets off some red flags. You feel a piercing side glance from Miss Tamora. You avoid eye contact with her. But anyways, you mind if I ask you a few questions? Of course, I'd be happy to help. Wait. What the... Hold on. Y'all saw that, right? Hold on. Am I high? Oh, you bastards. No, I saw that. I saw the screen glitch out. Fine. I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Just remember to show some discretion, Tyrion. Right. Okay. Why did Tyrion not catch that? Ooh, that's got my attention. Library is full of books for educational purposes. You've been combing through these books all morning. Globe of the World. I'm gonna... Damn! Hell yeah, man! So, you two are students at the Imperial Academy? Yes, I'm currently studying illusion magic. Illusions? That's the kind of magic that lets you turn invisible, right? Technically, yes, but few mages ever reach high enough level for that. I'm a bit embarrassed to admit I'm not able to cast invisibility. That's still pretty cool. What about you, Wallace? Wallace has his own unique field of study. It's probably not your place to pry. Okay. I was actually starting to question it. Everyone's talking about you two. Really? It's rare for the school to let outsiders in. That makes sense. This library isn't exactly open to the public. You were only able to get access to it because of Miss Tamora's connections. We only ever get occasional visits from the noble houses, so I was curious as to who would be able to break this dull monotony. Well, I'm a mercenary, but now I work as Tyrion's bodyguard. Mercenary? After her trial, it turned out that Celeste was more than capable of affording her services. However, Miss Tamora still proposed a different arrangement. After indicting Garrick Pierce, you painted a large target on your back. With Celeste being a mercenary, Miss Tamora decided to hire her as your bodyguard. She figured you'd feel more comfortable around someone you were already friends with. Anyway, I'm a defense attorney. A defense attorney. Also, I'm also noticing... Yeah, okay, I'm saying it. This is Emily. I'm going to call it right now. Mark it at 9:10. This is Emily. Wallace has already brought her back. She doesn't know. But the reason I'm saying that 100%, is the hands. The name's a little strange, but more importantly, she didn't have any... Like, the Eye of Horus didn't get her emotion. Which it seemed like it really should have there. What's that supposed to mean? Supernatural phenomenon. I wonder why you'd be researching such a thing. Yeah, I want to know too. I'm sorry. Or I'm sorry, but I really can't say. Regardless, there are many spells in the world. So why are you so convinced that this phenomenon wasn't produced by a spell? What we're looking for doesn't seem to follow the classic rules of magic. Oh? How so? Please, tell me. It was created by someone who's not a mage. Really? So you're saying this was something created by a person? The words came out of your mouth before you realized it. You sent a small apologetic look to Miss Timora. That does remind me of a story. A story? Mr. Cuthbert, do you know the legend of the how the kingdom of Wyverngard was... Oh, I thought it was Wyverngard, not Wyverngade. Was created? You mean the story about the ancient dragons? Hi, how you doing? Ancient what? Oh, it is Wyverngard. Okay, so that was a typo. Does Wyverngard have a story about ancient dragons? It's only about one ancient dragon. The Church of Bahamut refers to him as the Scaled Lord. Jay gets the cash out of here. I'm sure you've even heard people mention him before. Legends say the first mages were created centuries ago by him. At that time, our kingdom was caught in the middle of a brutal war. No way to defend themselves, the kingdom was on the brink of destruction. Our people prayed to Bahamut, the god of dragons, for salvation. Almost as if to answer their prayers, Rathalion, the last Scaled Lord, appeared before them. The Scaled Lord bestowed the gift of magic on a band of heroes who were fighting on the front lines. With their magic, these heroes utterly overtook the kingdom's enemies and single-handedly won the war. That these heroes went on to form the noble houses of today. What a load of nonsense. This story's nothing but religious propaganda to prop up the noble houses. Ruby? Why do you seem so upset by that story? Regardless, the significance of the legend is the Scaled Lord himself. You mean Rathalion? Rathalion bestowed the power of to become a mage on several individuals. And to this day, that power can only be passed down genetically. Can you think of an arcane spell that can produce something like that? No, I suppose not. Rathalion must have had powers that weren't bound to the rules of the arcane arts. In other words, he could create supernatural phenomena without following the rules of magic. Please, do you honestly expect us to believe a story like that? It's completely unrealistic. As unrealistic as a non-mage using supernatural powers? She has a point. It's a far-fetched theory, but it's the closest thing you have to a lead right now. Of course it would be you lot making all this noise. I like your choker. Or, like, whatever this is. I like it. Suddenly a woman who appears to be an instructor approaches you. She looks upon each of you with an equal amount of disdain. Professor Bellwether! That is Professor Bellwether to you. But didn't he just call you... I knew letting you rabble into our halls would lead to nothing but trouble. You even started associating with our malcontents. The headmaster gave us express permission to be here. If you have an issue with that, take it up with him. I'll have you know I was on my way to do just that. Wallace? Yes? How am I supposed to understand you when you're stuttering? Yes, Professor Bellwether. Straighten out your uniform and fix that awful hair. You look like a street urchin. I suppose it's unreasonable to expect anything more. As for you... Oh! There it was again. Okay, so it's any time... So Eris is bending reality when she's not getting her way. Telling ya. Eris can't be trusted. I'll be on my way. What a bitch. Celeste? Oh, come on. We were all thinking it. Anyway, with that out of the way, shall we begin? You keep detecting fear from Celeste. Wallace, you finished this week's assignments, haven't you? Would you mind helping Celeste with her research? I don't know. You mention it. I could really use some help finding a specific spell formula. You know your way around here, right, Wallace? Okay. Don't worry, Miss Timura. I'll be more careful from now on. Please do. I still have some business to take care of here, so I'll leave you all to it. You spend the next few hours searching through the library's books with Eris. You hadn't thought to look into the ancient dragons, and the library books has books about them in abundance. Was one problem. There are a lot of myths and stories about the ancient dragons, but it's pretty difficult to tell fact from fiction with these accounts. It can't be helped. The Church of Bahamut is the dominant religion of our kingdom. We have the bones of dragons displayed in museums. Aye! But these bones are the only widely known evidence of the dragon's existence. Hey! Good to hear, Jay. So you're done for the week? Except for Rathalion, possibly. Oh, I wonder if he's still alive, like you said. I wouldn't be surprised. Despite everything, our kingdom's constitution still includes him in our government. Wow. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position on our political hierarchy. The ancient dragon authority technically rivals that of King Oliver. Wow, I had no idea. I've never heard of this before. And to be honest, the law is just a way to revere him and appease the church. Good luck, Jay. Well, Rathalion couldn't possibly be any worse than nobility. You're so struck by your own thoughts, you accidentally bump into a bookshelf. The shelf begins to tip over, and you're able to catch it before it falls over. But not before several books fall from the shelf. Hit the ground with a cacophony of thuds. Some students glance in your direction. Be quiet! Sorry. Be quiet! Eris begins giggling. She seems amused by what's happening here. Hey, you okay? I heard a loud... Whoa. Celeste stares at the pile of fallen books. What'd you do? Get that. Just help me clean this up. There's no need for that. Construct, I require assistance. I? Acknowledged. Yeah! What? Upon Eris's command, one of the nearby suits of armor springs to life and begins walking towards you. The voice coming out of it sounds human, but lacks emotion. Why does it sound familiar? Wait, did you do that, Eris? Yeah, this is an arcane construct. It's a suit of armor that's animated using artificy. They're designed to carry out various tasks for the students. Good to know. Command log must be cleared regularly. Oh, they speak in the voice of Catherine Bellwether. Interesting. I didn't know anything like that existed. They're still experimental, so they're not available to the public yet. That being said, Construct, please place these books back where they belong. Acknowledged. On Eris's command, the Construct begins picking up books. It moves with inhuman efficiency. After only a few seconds, all the books are back on the shelves. Wow, so they do whatever you tell them to? Oh, there are some limits to... Construct, tell me I'm the fairest maiden you've ever seen. Command rejected. Oh, what? I guess they're not allowed to lie. You feel a sharp pain in your side as Celeste quickly jabs you. The Construct's voice is just a series of pre-recorded messages. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellwether. Unfortunately, you can't make them say anything other than what's recorded. Only the headmaster can change those settings. Artificially, I can record audio. Never seen anything like it. But you just said they're experimental, right? Maybe if I keep asking it, it'll just give up and do it. I would advise against that. Even if the commands are rejected, they're still stored in the Construct's command logs. Anyway, we should probably get back to work. Fine. You read more about the ancient dragons, but most of the stories read more like fables than actual historical accounts. No. That's just our life. Dragons. I mean, y'all saw the green, the 110 100 spots. feel like I'm making any progress. Suddenly you hear a thunderous low-pitched sound blare across the room. It sounds like a high-pitched horn, but with its volume turned up to unnatural levels. What? Celeste, do you hear that? Ugh, how can I not? What is that? You didn't touch anything, right? What? Of course not. It finally stopped. Eris, wasn't that the lockdown system? Yes, I believe so. Lockdown system? Buffy! It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. That feels like it. I guess. Oh, then again, it is a refresher. The Academy is outfitted with a large artificery system. In a state of emergency, it'll erect magical barriers throughout the building. State of emergency? Should we be worried? Don't worry. The lockdown's designed to keep everybody safe. We're safe as long as the barriers are up. But Miss Timura, she said she was going to do something on campus. I'm terribly sorry. You suddenly hear a disembodied voice echo through the library. Sounds like it's being projected magically. It's the headmaster. He's using the intercom system. Students and faculty, please remain calm. There's been a murder on Academy grounds. What? Please stay where you are and wait for law enforcement to arrive. Damn it, we have to get out of here. I'm afraid that's not possible. The lockdown system protects and locks each room. We can't leave this room until it's deactivated. Well, we won't know until we try. You run to the entrance and begin frantically pulling on the door's handle. You try to put all your strength into prying it open, but it doesn't even budge. Tyrion, stop! Jeez, that face! But, Miss Timura, I know you're worried about her, but there's already been a murder. We don't know where the attacker is, or if they're still armed. Best thing we can do right now is stay here and wait. By the reason you just gave, Math, if you shorten it to M, you might call me Ra, and that'd be awesome. I mean, why not? I'll go with Ra. Damn it! Celeste's hand rests on her sword. Her eyes are carefully watching the entrance. Wow, we've been here for hours, and she hasn't stopped watching the door. She was also able to calm you down earlier. It's easy to forget sometimes, but she's always reliable when it really counts. What? Students and faculty, thank you for your patience. Law enforcement has secured the building. The lockdown has been lifted. However, please remain in the building until the headmaster barely finishes his message before you're out the door. Don't stare at it too long. Tyrion! Hey, don't go off on your own! You desperately run through the academy hallways. No. Miss Timura? Miss Timura, where are you? You have no idea where you're even going anymore. You can feel your fear and anxiety rise with every passing moment. Where is she? I mean... Oh! She is alive! I'll be real, I kind of thought she was dead. I mean, going by Phoenix Wright rules, our Mia Fey should have been dead. Cuthbert? What's wrong? Why are you shouting? Miss Timura! Calm down, you're hyperventilating. I heard there was a murder, and I've been looking all over for you. And you were worried about me. I just... You hug Miss Timura as tightly as you're overcome with emotion. She's usually not receptive to affection, but you don't care. You're just relieved she's safe. Tyrion, there you are! And you're crying. Sorry, I didn't mean to worry you so much. We heard the announcement. Do you know what happened, Ruby? I do, but... You see Miss Timura glance at Wallace for a brief moment. For now, I think we should head to the foyer. You arrive at the foyer and see the room swarm with a legion of familiar knights. Is that the Inquisition? Don't tell me. The headmaster mentioned there was a murder on campus. Someone used magic. Hey, you there! As you enter the foyer, Commander White notices you and begins marching in your direction. But his attention isn't focused on you. Uh-huh? You Wallace Nightgrave. Yes? But... By the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. Hey, what are you doing? You three. What the hell are you doing here? You said he was under arrest? On what charges? This kid's charged with the murder of Catherine Bellwether. What? Wasn't that the professor you met in the library earlier? Like hell you're arresting him. He was with us in the library the entire morning. There's no way he could have murdered her. Move aside, Celeste. But... Miss Timura is right. If Wallace is a suspect, we can't stop the Inquisition from arresting him. No. Don't worry, Wallace. We'll get to the bottom of what happened. Without a word, Wallace allows the Inquisition to drag him away. My apologies. I'm gonna go and check on him. Interesting thing. Neuron synapses. Yes! That's one thing I've always said about the brain, Jay, is that the brain is essentially just a pattern machine. And the more, that's why when you practice something, it does... I didn't know about dendrites. I just know that it's like the synapses that you use get worn in. Which is why when you, when you learn a new word and you take the time to really commit to practicing it, you tend to use it a lot more in your daily conversation because your brain wants to go down the familiar pathway. Keep in mind, this is all very surface level knowledge. I do not claim to be a neuroscientist. I do call myself a Renaissance man because I have a wide field of knowledge. It's not all very deep, but... Yep. This is terrible. I still don't understand. Why would they suspect Wallace of all people? I'm not sure myself. Unlike most magical homicides, the school's filled with plenty of mages. There has to be a long list of suspects. Isn't there anything we can do? I'm gonna go investigate what happened. Cuthbert. Yeah? He hasn't accepted you as his attorney yet. You don't even know if you'll be working this case. But I know that he's innocent. I can't just sit here and do nothing. Well, I clearly can't stop you. But please remember that being attorney is your job. It's not charity work. Come crying to me if you run out of gold. Right. Anyway, I still have some business to take care of in the city. Will you two be okay handling this? Yeah, we'll take care of this. Good. I'll leave everything to you, then. Alright, let's go, Celeste. Right! Hey. It's been a few hours since Wallace was arrested. You and Celeste were with him during the lockdown, so the Inquisition had to take your statements. But the more they questioned you, the more they you could tell they had doubts in your testimony. You'll need to do more if you want to establish an alibi for Wallace. That took longer than I expected. I've already lost a lot of time talking to the Inquisition. We should be free to roam around now. Where should we go first? The crime scene sounds like a good start. Still need to figure out what actually happened. Ruby said the body was found in Lecture Hall 2B. It's in the west wing of the school. Alright, that seems a good place to start. Let's have a chat with our assistant. I hope Wallace is okay. He looked really scared when Commander White arrested him. Don't worry, we'll find out what really happened. First, you need to inspect the crime scene. Where should we go next? Oh, okay. So this is she's just my hint system. Hey, stop right there! As you try and enter the classroom, you're stopped by one of the Inquisition Knights. I'm the defense attorney for the accused. We have a right to investigate the crime scene. Eh? From what I've heard, the kid doesn't have an attorney yet. Right. You haven't been able to talk to him about that yet. It's quite alright. Let them in. Lady Steelwind? Do not call me that. While you all work under me, you will address me as Prosecutor Steelwind. Yes, Prosecutor Steelwind. What's that smell? As you enter the classroom, you find yourself inhaling a sour and rancid odor. The stench is so overwhelming your eyes begin to tear up. Don't worry, you eventually get used to that smell. What are you even doing here, Steelwind? I'm here to coordinate the investigation. You look around the crime scene. There isn't a single Inquisition Knight in the room. Isn't that the Inquisition's job? Due to the circumstances, I've decided to handle this case personally. Since we got you here, can we ask you what happened? Can I assume you're planning on defending this case? That would make you my opponent. What would I have to gain from helping you? Right. However, I would be willing to answer your questions, but only if you answer some of mine as well. Oh. Okay. Behold a majestic dress. Behold a majestic black dragon that can't fucking speak English. Behold the majestic black dragon as he gazes over his hoard of gold. As he watches his projection of a video game. Truly, isn't nature fascinating? Mr. McCoy, it's my understanding that you were adopted. Would you happen to know who your birth parents are? Hey, isn't it too personal of a question? You agreed to answer my questions, didn't you? But I didn't think you meant... It's fine, Tyrion. I'm fine with answering if it helps Wallace. I don't know who my birth parents were. Never tried looking for them. I see. If I recall correctly, your spell compendium only contained one spell. Considering your upbringing, how did you learn Mageblade in the first place? I bought a scroll from a merchant a few years ago. It had the Mageblade spell formula on it. But I know more than one spell now. I actually just learned a few new spells today. I'm sorry, spells? As in, plural. How long did it take you to learn these spells? A few hours, I think. You learned multiple spell formulas within a few hours? What was that just now? I see. Well, I think that's all I need to ask for now. Okay. She's sharing information about the investigation for that? Why is she so interested in Celeste all of a sudden? Hey, now. I will have you know, black dragons as a whole are super uncharismatic and very stupid. Comparatively speaking. In D&D, anyway. Besides, note the glorious... Hold on. Let me get my ass up here. Note the glorious tattoos. The runic markings of the Twilight. I am more than my brethren. I'm gonna go back where I belong. Oh, speaking of which... Put that back where it belongs. Can't forget my lawyer's badge. Alright, what the hell is that smell? I can't take it anymore. The smell is driving me crazy. What is that? From what I understand, it was a bit of an accident a few days ago. It happened during one of the classes the headmaster was teaching. I try, Ranter. That's literally what I'm here for, is to make things fun. He misread the instructions for an alchemy experiment, and as a result, he accidentally produced this rancid-smelling vapor. Vapor? It's not poisonous, is it? Of course not. I wouldn't be standing here if it were. It's just extremely unpleasant to the senses. Weeks ago. Do you know what happened here, Steelwind? Well, it all began when the City Watch received a call from the Academy. Supposedly there was an attack on campus grounds, and the entire building was put on lockdown. City Watch set up a perimeter around the building as they waited for the system to deactivate. Couldn't the Academy have let them in once the scene was secure? I'm not sure about the specifics, but supposedly, the lockdown can't be shut down manually. You have to ask one of the Academy's admins if you want to know more. Anyway, you two were also present during the lockdown, am I correct? Did either of you see anything suspicious? No, but we actually met the professor that morning. She's still alive then. I see. That does match with the accounts from our other witnesses. Do you have any idea where she went after she left the library? The headmaster gave us express permission to be here. If you have an issue with that, then take it up with him. I'll have you know I was on my way to do just that. She said she was going to go meet up with the headmaster. He also mentioned that when I questioned him. She attended the meeting as planned. If the headmaster met with Bellwether, you'll probably want to speak with him next. She must have found her way into this classroom afterward. Would you happen to have a map of the academy? I do, and I have extra copies if you'd like one. Okay, I just put it back on, Maffy. Although I do need to shrink it just a hair more. Oh, there we go. Oh, nope, wrong button. Not that. Get out of here. Ah! You know what? Hell with it. It's good enough. He says as he continues futzing with it. There we go. Better. I do really like, though, that our Edgeworth analog here, that Steelwind, is actually helpful. Like, yeah, she wants to win, but she wants justice more, and she will help you for it. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. What is it? There's only one direct path from the headmaster's office to this lecture hall. But I wonder if she took any detours. Do you know how the body was discovered? 2 members of the kitchen staff spotted her collapsed into this classroom. They reported the situation to the campus admin while they attempted to save her life. It was too late. The professor had already passed away by the time the healers arrived. There's 2 staff members. Who were they? I believe their names were Valentina and Valerie Ionis? They're apparently sisters. Orem was the one that collected their statements. Didn't notice anything off. From what he said, they had a few quirks, but nothing too suspicious. Quirks? He told me they were running and spinning around him during questioning. What does that mean? I have no idea. Perhaps they're still on edge after finding their co-worker murdered. You'll want to speak with them. 2 members of the kitchen staff being hyperactive during questioning. Well, we've already told the Inquisition this, but Wallace was with us the entire time. He couldn't have committed the murder. Yeah, he has a perfect alibi. Strong, maybe, but his alibi is far from perfect. Miss McCoy told us that. Herself told us that. There was a small time period where she wasn't with him. What? Right, it was when I came to check on you after you knocked over that shell. I got a little lost on my way back to Wallace. But still, we only lost each other for a few minutes. That may be, but unless his alibi is airtight, the evidence in this room proves it was him. What do you mean? It'll be easier to explain once you examine it yourself. Tell me more, why don't you? Oh, Tyrion, I almost forgot. Since this is our first official case together, I wanted to show you something I learned. Alright, what is it?
Arcane.
Hey! What was that? That is the incantation for the Detect Magic spell. Detect Magic? Does that mean... Yep, we can see magical traces while we're examining crime scenes now. Holy shit. Your bodyguard, Celeste, can now cast a Detect Magic spell. While examining a location, press Detect Magic to make magical traces visible. Interesting.
Repario Arcanum.
2 different colors, then. What? What's wrong? There's a trace of necromancy on the body. Necromancy? Isn't necromancy the type of magic that creates undead? Why, yes it is! She's not just gonna get up and walk away, right? We're honestly not sure. That's part of the reason I've stationed myself here. What does that have to do with Wallace? Oh, you didn't know? Wallace Nightgrave is a necromancer. He's a what? We believe that he drained our life force completely using a necromancy spell. That's why there are no visible wounds. Here's the autopsy report. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Not caused by poison or disease, traces of necromancy and illusion. But in modern day, even the Inquisition doesn't commonly deal with necromancy. They're all on edge about what other spells he might have used. So I'm here to make sure that nothing unholy happens to the body. You can't believe it. You've heard stories of necromancers before. Hi, how you doing? But why would Wallace be studying something like that? But even if Wallace is a necromancer, aren't there plenty other mages who can cast necromancy spells? This is an academy for mages, after all. No, there are no laws against it, but the knowledge required to learn necromancy is heavily controlled. No one in their right mind would dare teach necromancy beyond basic healing magic. Frankly, I'm surprised even one student at this school was allowed to learn it. I can see why. But because of this specific piece of evidence, we know he's the murderer. Still too convenient. That's true. It is the first thought from Steelwind. Normally you only see thoughts from people who are stressed or excited. You doubt Miss Steelwind's excited, so something is causing her to be stressed? Is there something you're not telling us, Steelwind? Because something tells me this case isn't as straightforward as you claim it is. If you truly believe that, then why don't you prove it? Yep, constantly guarding her mind now, clearly hiding something. This would be the illusion magic. There's a trace of illusion magic by the body. We believe that the suspect donned an illusionary disguise immediately after murdering the victim. Excuse me. What you thinking, baby? Using his disguise, he discreetly made his way back to the library unnoticed. Well, assuming that Wallace isn't the murderer, the real killer must have used a similar disguise, which means no one would have seen them leave this classroom. It'd be harder to find any witnesses that saw the perpetrator. That must be the evidence that she was talking about. Oh. It's a painting of some sort of musician. Some text written below it. Dr. Nicholas Gusseau, inventor of the Arcane engine. His work revolutionized trade and travel across the seas. While known for not discriminating between common folk and nobility, judging his assistants purely based on their merit. When he wasn't conducting research within the Imperial Academy, he was known to compose symphonies for the king in his free time. A man of many talents. This must be where the students sit during lectures. I can't imagine sitting in one place all day. You never attended a school before? No, we never had a proper school back in Cornhaven. I mainly got my education from books that my parents bought from traveling merchants. What about you? I used to attend a public school in my hometown, but after Miss Timora adopted me, she handled my education personally. Ooh, interesting. Steelwind didn't like that. Oh, they have books here too. They appear to be textbooks about alchemy. Oh, lame. Can't believe the professor is dead. We just saw her this morning. There's a chalk outline where her body was. It appears most of the blood came from her abdomen. Is that where the fatal wound was? There's a lot of blood in this puddle, but no trail leading to it. There aren't any magical traces anywhere else. I doubt the murderer used magic to clean it. Does that mean the murderer attacked her in this room? Maybe, but it's hard to say for certain. Okay, but hold on. Hold on. We already have a contradiction. The lecture hall is a window with a view. I feel like we just stare outside all day. Oh, I'd just stay outside all day if I had to attend a class here. You're not much of a student, are you? Ugh, I just can't spend hours sitting in one place. I need to move around. She was pretty antsy when you were studying in the library earlier. How have you learned so many spells if you're distractible? I don't know. I just learned the spell formula and cast stuff. I see. Is that not normal? So she's a prodigy. Okay, but we already have a contradiction. Because... No. Got it here. Where's my records? There we are. Okay, so the autopsy says there are no signs of cuts or bruising, right? But she bled from the abdominal area. So what is she bleeding from if not from a cut or a cut? So we already have an inconsistency. But as a mage from a noble house, you must have gone to school here. You know Catherine Bellwether while you were here? Fortunately, I did. I constantly clashed with her over the treatment of the students. One of my biggest regrets is failing to remove her from her position before I graduated. Sounds like a lot of people didn't get along with her. I would say more, but it doesn't feel right to speak ill of the dead. I guess that's it. Alright, let's meet the sisters. Oh god, that music is a bad sign. Hello? Is anyone there? Looks like there's no one here right now. Maybe we should check somewhere else.
Arcanum.
I actually didn't mean to hit that. Follow the map Steelwind gave you. You arrive at the headmaster's office. Oh, hello there. I wasn't expecting guests today. Sorry for coming unannounced. You must be... My name is Theodore Radmund. I'm the headmaster of the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. And judging from your appearance, you must be the protege of Ruby Timora. What do I owe the pleasure? They must be here to investigate the murder. Wait, Eris? I thought you went to see Wallace. Unfortunately, the Inquisition is questioning him right now. They aren't allowing visitors. Notice also, and it would also not be at the abdomen either. Notice also, Eris is illusion. But Eris was with us too. So, He must be so scared right now. I hope he's okay. Right, she had the same experience not too long ago. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. This is terrible. To think that one of my prize students would be accused of murder. We heard your voice on the intercom when the lockdown happened. You the one who triggered it? Yes, I activated it when I received a call from one of the staff. They reported that Professor Bellwether had been attacked. How does the lockdown system work? Not to mention, baby, if we look at the autopsy, or rather here, bled from her abdominal area. It's an artificial network that covers the entire academy. In the event of an emergency, I can activate it using this stone. The headmaster pulls out a glowing stone from his desk. You can hear the hum of magical energy from it. Once activated, the system creates a magical barrier throughout the building. It's designed to contain and protect each room in the building. Could a powerful mage breach any of these barriers? I doubt it. The barriers can withstand a great amount of force. They even block mages from teleporting through them. And once activated, even I can't turn it off for an hour. Good to know. What can you tell me about Wallace Knight? About Wallace? Earlier you said he was one of your prize students. Sad. I just need to understand. Why did the prosecutor say he was a necromancer? Because technically, he is one. But why would he study something like that? Also, Headmaster is illusion too. Sad first, because then we get good, then we get happy afterwards, Jay. And yeah, Math, we will get the compendium during the case, so I'm not too worried about it yet. Necromancy is probably one of the most dangerous and scrutinized schools of magic. Its image has long since been tainted by dark wizards raising armies of the undead. However, it doesn't just control the forces of death, it also controls the forces of life. Forces of life? The truth is that healing magic is also classified as necromancy. Most healers don't care to admit it because of the stigma it has. But that's why Wallace is studying it. He wants to become a doctor. But there are plenty of mages who know healing magic. Why is Wallace being singled out? For years, he's been studying necromancy beyond healing magic. He believes a high-level necromancy could revolutionize modern medicine. Unfortunately, many among the facility don't see it that way. Wallace doesn't hail from a noble house. He's a mage born amongst the common folk. He's like me. Many of the facility fear he'll use that knowledge to raise armies of the undead, just like the necromancers of old. The Imperial Academy isn't even permitted to teach it to students beyond basic healing magic. Oof. It could have been a heart attack. Could have been just a collapse. A lot of schools will get very, 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 very twitchy if someone falls, like collapses in their school. Why do you allow him to study it? After everything that's happened to him, I made an exception. Everything that happened to him? I'm not at liberty to say more. You'll have to ask him if you wish to know more. If you plan on defending Wallace, you'll need his spell compendium. Am I correct? Yeah, having a client's compendium is instrumental to acquitting them. You may find that bit difficult. You see, after a certain incident, he destroyed his compendium. What? Why would he do that? Doesn't he need it to use magic? A spell compendium is a device mages use to keep track of what spells they can cast. It's really convenient for remembering the formulas and incantations of your spell, but it's not actually required to use magic. I thought of destroying mine a long time ago, but they're really expensive. Luckily, I have an unattuned spell compendium right here. I'd be more than happy to give it to you if it helps Wallace. Oh, thanks. Wallace just needs to maintain physical contact with it for 10 minutes. After that, the compendium will attune to his magic. Just make sure you don't let another mage like Celeste hold it. Once it attunes to a mage, no one else can use it. Wait, but then how come it isn't attuning to you? I had a moment of whiplash when my professor casually swore in our lecture. Yeah. I had the same thing when I first went to college, Shay, when you're just... It takes you a minute to get your brain to college, not high school. And hey, Avalanche! Wait, but how did... Wonderful! I just hope you can persuade Wallace to attune from it. I'm telling you, Eris is doing some crazy shit. What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? Angry, sad, and scared. She was rather unpleasant to work with. Can you think of any enemies she might have had? The whole fucking school. You might as well list everyone. You might as well list everyone who attended this school. Eris. It's best to be blunt with these sort of things. I love her eyes. Even though I'm pretty sure Eris is, actually the murderer here. As you saw this morning, she has a pretty abrasive attitude towards the students. Many people in the school did not care for her. Maybe she wasn't the nicest person, but would that be enough to motivate someone to murder her? She'd often target and harass students, especially those who were from the common folk. She even made a habit of expelling these students for minor infractions. You know, suddenly, I'm not feeling too bad about her death. Commoners, magic can be our ticket out of poverty. Can't imagine how it would feel to have that opportunity unfairly taken from you. She put so much pressure on those students. Some of them are even left the academy of their own volition. They couldn't handle her constant verbal abuse. Even then, would that be enough motivation to really commit murder? The human psyche is a fragile thing. You would not know, would you? It's astounding what someone might do when pushed far enough. What about her relationship with the faculty? In some cases, it was worse than with the students. She'd often treat the staff like our personal servants. I've seen many complaints from them about her behavior. Sorry if this sounds rude, but why didn't you just fire her if she was such a big problem? She used her position to curry favor with the noble houses over the years. So you can imagine, our academy's board is controlled by the nobility. If I ever tried to remove her, they would probably support her over me. Interesting. Let's see. Well, do remember, we do also have that crazy voice in our head. So, if Eris is powerful enough to manipulate reality like this, and she's even manipulating history, because if you look at my records, yeah, his questioning of where she got the compendium is just deleted, even from my records. I heard you had a meeting scheduled with Professor Bellwether this morning. What time was this, and when did the meeting end? Our meeting was scheduled for noon. She arrived on time, and our meeting lasted until 1 p.m. Anything about her seem off to you? No, she seemed to be her usual self. Fear? If you don't mind my asking, what was the purpose of your meeting? We met to discuss routine administrative matters. Despite our personal disagreements, we knew to stay civil when discussing professional affairs. Fear again. But to be perfectly honest, it always did feel like I was treading on eggshells when speaking with her. But you were superior, weren't you? Didn't she respect your authority? We had many arguments about how I was managing the academy, and she was very vocal about her distaste for common folk students. She was difficult, to say the least. Let's see. Painting of someone. Professor Lucas Gilbert was an instructor here many decades ago, well beloved by the students, quite the accomplished scholar. I'm willing to bet these are Patreon, or Kickstarters. He couldn't use magic? Lost to illness. Jason Steelwind. Chosen mages of the... Oh, wait, whoa, Steelwind. Yes, he's the earliest recorded ancestor of House Steelwind. Legends say the Scaled Lord bestowed their power upon him and his allies to create the first mages. I'd even tell he and the prosecutor belonged to the same bloodline. As with all noble houses, House Steelwind had quite humble beginnings. Interesting.
Repario Arcanum.
No magic. Good view of the garden. No, actually, it's just apple juice. Most of my guests are students, after all. Fair enough. Let's go check on the kitchen, see if they're back. Hello? Is anyone there? Be right there! She's cute, but you know what it is? She reminds me of Eeny Minnie, which automatically puts me at unease. Sorry, but the cafeteria is closed right now. Actually, we're here to investigate the murder. We heard that 2 members of the kitchen staff discovered the body. Oh, that would be me. I'm Valentina Ionis. What about the other person? Do you know where they are right now? That'd be my sister, Valerie. But I think she's somewhere else on campus right now. If you're with those knights, we already told them everything we know. Actually, we're investigating separately from them. I wanted to ask you some questions about what you saw. Sure. I might have to remember those details again. What'd you see? To start, can you tell us how you and your sister discovered the body? Right. My sister and I were walking the hallway from the kitchen to the west exit. We spotted the professor in a nearby classroom. She was lying on the floor and bleeding. I used an emergency communication device to call for help. While I was doing that, my sister tried to wake her up. That would imply that Valerie thought she could be resuscitated. Did she know if the professor was still alive or not? We're not sure, but she wasn't responding at all. She wasn't breathing, and she didn't have a pulse. You know about the suspect in this case. His name is Wallace Nightgrave. He's a student here. He's that scary kid, right? The one that raises undead? Those are just rumors. She has cute eyes. He would never do something like that. But he said he's necromancy, right? Have you ever actually met him? No. But I heard the rumors. He's always hanging around the cemetery. I'm sure he's just biding his time, waiting for his chance to raise an army. Can't be helped that people think of him that way. But you can't be a little annoyed on his behalf. Then you tell me about Catherine Bellwether. Same thing. Fear, sadness, and anger. Well, I guess there's no point in hiding it anymore. She's a horrible person. She's really terrible to all of us. By all of us, do you mean the academy staff? Yeah, she always treated us like her personal servants. Sometimes she'd make messes on purpose, just so she could order us to clean it up. Probably sounds terrible, but I'm sure a lot of people are glad she's gone. I just hope we can still keep our jobs. Interesting. Not much you were worried about that. Did you ever feel like your job was at risk because of Bellwether? Yeah, actually. She was actually planning to fire all of the staff. All of the staff? It can't be true. This academy needs the staff to function. I'm not sure about the details. That's just what Jan told us. Who's Jan? He's one of the academy's custodians. You can probably find him cleaning the halls if you look around. The janitor? Janitor day. It's always the janitor. 2F. storage closet.
Repario Arcanum.
No magic. Let's check the foyer. Okay, so she thinks we need to still talk about the kitchen here. Nope. Get out of here. Celeste, this room was close to the crime scene. Can you cast Detect Magic and scan for magical traces? Sure. Did he just say scan for magical traces? Oh, I'll just get out of your way then. Interesting. Wow, she just bolted out of the room. What was that about?
Repario Arcanum.
No magic traces. Several commonly used ingredients. Rack of cooking implements. Set of pots. There's some wine here too. Probably not lotus juice, Celeste. Okay, Tyrion is a man of culture, okay? Oh, it's a plate of bread. And they probably serve... Well, no, hun. We know she has no art, no magic. But, that's more common than not having magic. So, if anything, it'd be reversed. They probably serve these as sides to the entree. Don't get any ideas, Tyrion. What? Remember when we went to that fancy restaurant? You just kept ordering breadsticks and butter. The bread is free! I might as well take advantage of it. You know that eating that many carbs is good for you. Yeah. Large cooking station. No evidence, other than her getting weirded out by magic. You spot Valentina again. She's speaking to someone in a blue-collar uniform. Could he be the custodian she meant? Bro is wearing pajamas. Bro is in jams. Jan, where have you been? You still haven't fixed the plumbing in the kitchen sinks. Just died. We take the day off for once. You're causing trouble for me and Valentina. Please be reasonable. Wait, why is Valentina speaking in the third person? Oh, hello. Valentina? Oh, my apologies. I can see why you're confused. I'm not Valentina. I'm her sister Valerie. Are you trying to trick us or something? You look exactly the same. You remember reading about something like this before. You two are identical twins, aren't you? You're both genetically identical to each other. Yes, we are. Wait, that means she was the one to discover the body alongside Valentina. Since we have you here, do you mind if we ask some questions about what happened? Terribly sorry, but I've already spent a lot of time looking for Jan here. She looks super nervous, too. I'm really behind on my work, but Jan was also nearby when we discovered the body. I'm sure he can answer your questions. Before you have a chance to object, Valerie quickly walks away. Suspicious. Wait! You want me to go after her? I'm pretty sure I can catch up to her. No, we don't want to scare those two more than we are. Bullshit! They're being sketchy as fuck! Ugh. Anyway, Valerie said that Jan was around when the murder happened. Maybe he saw something. Jan, was it? Do you mind if we ask you some questions about what happened? Ugh, really? No, whatever. At least I have an excuse to take a break now. So Jan, you part of the staff here? Yep, I'm a janitor. I clean, I do odd jobs here and there. Ugh. Apparently that's all he has to say about that. Valerie mentioned you were close to Lecture Hall 2B when they found the bellwether. What were you doing when the twins discovered the body? Just cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase. And there were shards of dirt everywhere. Wait, you saw the professor before the twins arrived? Yeah, like I said, she broke the vase right in this hallway. It's probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. Might have been the last person to see her alive. Did you see where she went after breaking the vase? Yeah, I think she went to that room over there. Yep, 2B. See anyone else in her lecture hall? Honestly, not sure. I was more worried about cleaning the mess she made. Did you notice anything off about her? She was in a pretty bad mood, but honestly, that's pretty normal for her. She was rocking real slow. I didn't notice it at first, and she basically shoved me out of her way. After that, she knocked over the vase. I didn't even say anything after that, but she still yelled at me to be quiet. Huh. Because I'm thinking she... See where she went after that? Not really. The only thing in that direction is Lecture Hall 2B. Can't imagine her going anywhere else. Well... It could have been... Okay, so far my working theory is it has something to do with the arcane constructs, because they use her voice. Yes, correct, Mappy. They could have done that, but I'm thinking it was I'm thinking someone used a construct from the library, which is why it immediately reacted to sound and said, be quiet. What that doesn't answer, though, is where the fuck it went. Or the blood. What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? I've heard she had a pretty bad relationship with the staff. She had a bad relationship with just about everyone. Students, the other teachers. I can't think of many people who actually did get along with her. I'm thinking, Matthew, that it was a construct, and that because it's from the library, that's its automatic reaction when it hears a loud noise. But he thought it was her because it uses her voice. Sure, you had your share of bad experiences with her. Yeah, she'd always yell at me when I was taking too long to get a job done. Hate to say it, but things are a lot more peaceful here without her. That's blunt, to say the least. But you can't exactly blame him for thinking that. Valentina mentioned something interesting. Tell her that Bellwether was gonna fire the academy staff? Yeah, I remember that. What made you think she was gonna do something like that? You know those arcane constructs in the library? Bellwether was the one that ordered them. Oh yeah, they're so cool! And a few weeks ago, I overheard a meeting she was having with the headmaster. From what I heard, she was planning on ordering more constructs and entirely replace the staff. Oh. I'm sure the headmaster rejected her proposal. I don't know. From the way she was talking, it sounded like he didn't have a say in the matter. But only the headmaster had the authority to fire staff. Why would she be that confident? I don't know. All I know is she hated having common folk in the school, even among the staff. She was really miffed that he was hiring common folk in the community center. Alright, let's check the kitchen again. Oh. We are gonna swing back by the headmaster, see if he's got anything new to say. Didn't think so. I think we're done in the school for now. Ooh. That's a good idea, baby. Like, she was stabbed, and then they used healing to make the wound go away, and then they used that to put the blame on. Good call, love. Alright, let's see if we can't talk to Wallace. It's over. My life is over. Wallace? Who are you? What do you want? Wallace, it's less than Tyrion. In the library, remember? Oh, right. How you doing? Apparently not well. Please tell me you're gonna get me out of here. I keep telling them I didn't do it, but they still won't let me go. Sorry, Wallace, but they found traces of necromancy magic on the body. And because of that, they're going to push your case to trial. What? Are they going to execute me? This can't be happening. He's having a panic attack. Calm down. We know you're innocent. With that said, would you let me represent you in court? Oh, right. You said you were a lawyer. But I don't really have any money to pay you with. Don't worry about that. For now, let's just focus on getting you acquitted. What? Do they seriously want to help me? No, they want something from me, but... Well, I guess it doesn't matter anyways. Not like I have anything else to lose. Not exactly the reaction you were expecting. But at least he's cooperating. First things first. Here, buddy. Hold this. Okay, we'll do that later. I don't understand. I was with you in the library the entire time. Why do they still think I'm the murderer? It makes no sense. Unless... You told the Inquisition, right? Did you tell them I'm innocent? Did they frame me? We did, but as we said before, there are traces of necromancy on the body. And with the state of the body, they believe she was murdered with a necromancy spell. Apparently, that makes you their prime suspect. I see. Wallace, we heard about the type of magic you're studying. Don't worry. The headmaster explained it to us already. You just want to use necromancy to become a doctor, right? I understand you have reservations about talking about your magic, but in order to build a case for you, I need your spell compendium. I don't have one. I know. Eris already told us. That's why she gave us a blank one for you to attune to. Do I have to? It's your life on the line. We need all the information we can get to help you. Sorry, you're right. I'll attune to it. Hey! Here we go. Prestidigitation, mend wounds, illusory disguise, revive, animate corpse. Revive, though. And necrotic blight. Same as usual. Mend wounds of the target over the casting time. Wounds on the target are magically healed without leaving any scars or bruises. Cannot restore missing limbs, nor can it revive. Places an illusion on the target to completely change the visual appearance. The disguise moves with the target for the duration. Can make it look 1 foot larger or smaller. So very D&D. It's lesser disguise self. Elements hidden by the spell are made invisible. All elements created by the spell are purely visual. Floods the target with life energy in an attempt to resuscitate them. Does not heal wounds sustained. Results may vary. Cannot resuscitate someone who's been dead for more than a minute. Vivify. Yep. Necros. Reanimates the target using life energy, creating an undead minion for the duration. The minion follows the caster's orders, but its intelligence is limited and cannot speak. The minion can end the spell prematurely, but will only do so if ordered by the caster. Once the spell has been used, the undead will return to being a dead body. There it is. There it is. Wait, no. Pulls all the life. Oh, boy. But we're good. We still have the bloodstain. It does not wound the target, nor does it leave any physical evidence. Hun, like we said, there is a bloodstain, so it cannot be necrotic blight. You understand the reason he's studying this type of magic, but the spells in his compendium are still pretty gruesome. It's a little terrifying that spells like this even exist. Sorry, I know I was being difficult. A long time ago, I showed my compendium to someone I trusted. After she saw my necromancy spells, she told everyone in the academy. That's also when Professor Bellwether started coming after me. Sorry, it must have been hard for you. But at least you had Eris. Yeah, I did. Interesting. How'd you and Eris become friends anyway? Beer? Oh, it's a bit of a strange story. Sometimes the other students would steal the ID number off my locker, and they'd switch it with one on another locker. They thought it was funny whenever the owner got angry with me. Eris had a bit of a reputation around our school. I'm not sure why, but everyone's scared of her. Even the students and the nobility. Probably due to some baseless rumors. One day, someone switched my nameplate with hers. I was so scared when she approached me, I couldn't even say anything. But she didn't get angry like the others. She just apologized and gave me back my nameplate. After that, she randomly started talking to me whenever she saw me. We became friends after that. That's nice. It's a good thing he was able to find a friend in a place like that. So I have to ask, if it's caused you so much trouble, why are you still studying necromancy? I want to use it to become a doctor. That master told us the same thing, but you could have stopped after learning the healing spells. Why are you learning spells that can steal people's life force and raise undead? Life and death are two sides of the same coin. That's the key principle behind necromancy. The first undead was actually a failed attempt to resurrect a human using magic. Wow, I never knew that. Right now, basic necromancy can only heal injuries and wounds, but it can't do anything for diseases or deformities. If I could just keep studying, I know I could create a new type of necromancy, one that could cure diseases and save lives. Exactly. That's why I'm thinking it was a construct, because the constructs can talk, and they're programmed to have pre-established responses. He specifically wants to cure diseases. Did something happen to him to motivate that much? I think I already guessed the answer to this question, but how was your relationship with Catherine Bellwether? Exactly what you'd expect. After word got out of what I was studying, Professor Bellwether would always target me. She'd start yelling at me for the smallest mistakes. She'd do that at some of the other students too, and she'd focus on the ones that were poor like me. It's terrible. I'd wake up each day, dreading the possibility she'd notice me in the hallways. I knew how to avoid her and stay out of her way, but sometimes she'd just come looking for me. Can't believe that after everything she did, she's just gone. You must have mixed emotions about what happened. Honestly, don't know how I feel about it. To be honest, I always wish she would just disappear, but now that it's finally happened, I just feel even more afraid. It feels like she's gonna come back from the grave and haunt me. Even with Bellwether gone, his trauma will still probably linger. I think I'm starting to put things together now. You figured something out? Yeah, I just need to take some time to think through everything. The prosecution wants to implicate Wallace despite his alibi. They wouldn't have a reason to do this unless the evidence heavily implicated him. How does the evidence implicate Wallace? We've learned that Wallace is a necromancer, and is the only person at the Academy capable of high-level necromancy. A magical trace of necromancy was found on the body. So, trace of necromancy on the body. That means they think Wallace used one of his necromancy spells. Even without seeing the traces, it's pretty obvious that magic was used on the body. Right, because there aren't any wounds on it. And the autopsy report found no signs of poison or disease. And they think he used... She probably already has a theory on which spell. The prosecution will argue that he used one of his spells to kill Bellwether, Necrotic Blight. Makes sense. Necrotic Blight would have drained the life force from her body. But that's where the contradiction lies. Thank you, Tyrion! Let's suppose that Wallace did kill Bellwether using Necrotic Blight. There's something in the crime scene that wouldn't be there if this were true. What's wrong with the crime scene? Is that Bellwether's body was covered in blood. Necrotic Blight is a spell that doesn't inflict any visible wounds. There shouldn't have been any blood on the body. Then what really happened? That's the last piece. If I had to guess, the information we need is being hidden by one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Valentina? She's definitely hiding something. Notice how she reacted when I asked you to scan the room? Yeah, she ran away. She didn't even try and be subtle about it. The way she acted, I think she may have been trying to hide herself from your detect magic. Which can only mean there's a magical trace on her. Wonder what she's trying to hide. There's only one way to find out. Next time you see her, could you subtly cast detect magic and scan her? Alright. Man, it's been a while since we talked to her. Valerie also mentioned they still had work to do today. She might be back in the Academy's kitchen now. Well, know where we're going. Those two are finally gone. I can finally get some cleaning done. Alright, there she is. Use detect magic to scan her from here. Right. Just don't shout the incantation like you always do. I know that! Alright, here goes. Repario Arcanum. What the? What is it? There's a trace of magic on her. I knew it! Which school of magic? It's necromancy. There's a trace of necromancy on her. What? Ooh, hold on. I saw that wording. Valentina has a trace of magical. Someone cast a necromancy spell on her within the last 48 hours. What do we do now? You're still not sure how this fits in with everything. For now, let's just talk to her and see if we can get some more information out of her. Let's fail so we can confront her with the evidence. Oh, it's you two again. They're back? Just relax. All I have to do is repeat what I told them last time. Fortunately for her, that won't work this time. Nisianus, did you know there's a trace of necromancy on Bellwether's body? That's what he used to kill the professor, right? A necromancy spell. That's the thing. If that were true, a lot of the evidence we found doesn't make sense. I think someone else cast a spell on the body. Is it possible you saw someone use magic on Bellwether? No, definitely not. Calm down, there's no way they know. Thoughts are an open book now. If you beat her in an argument, her thoughts might show you what she's hiding. Psychological profile. Which, if I recall, was just show her stuff. What can you tell? Oh, okay. Oh wow, she's got absolutely nothing. Bad smell? Alright, right into the argument then. Shiklino, she found the body with her sister, reacted strangely when you mentioned someone may have used magic. What is she hiding? Lucianus, from the very beginning, I feel like you've been hiding something from us. More concerned with protecting herself than doing the right thing. She will continue to hide her secrets unless she thinks doing that is dangerous. She sees Wallace as a villainous necromancy and will not feel pity. That's what I'm thinking too, baby. There's something that you're not telling us about. What are you talking about? My conscience is clear. I told you in the nights everything I know. I got nothing to hide. Yep. Empathy. Nisianus, it's clear to anyone how nervous you are. I can practically see the fear you're emanating. Just tell us the truth. It'd be a lot easier for the both of us. Let's say I were hide son, which I'm not, by the way. I don't have to tell you anything. Why should I tell you anything? I know my rights. Ooh, okay. You've already given your statement to the Inquisition. If the truth comes out, what do you think they'll do if they realize you lied to them? Who are you protecting, Miss Giannis? You talk a big game, but you can't actually prove anything, can you? You think I'm lying to protect someone? I don't know anyone who can use magic. I don't even know any mages. I definitely didn't see someone use magic on the body. You can't hide the truth. What? You said you never even seen a necromancy spell before. If that were true, then why is there a trace of necromancy on you? Wait, what? There's a trace of necromancy on me? Wait, she didn't know? Did she not know about the spell cast on her? That doesn't make any sense. If she didn't know about the trace, she wouldn't have avoided Celeste back then. There must be an explanation. This is crazy. Why is there a trace of necromancy on me? Am I gonna die? Am I gonna become a zombie? Strange. Is she really unaware the spell was cast on her? Or is she playing dumb? Why doesn't she know that the spell was necro? Because it's healing. And they don't know that healing spells are necromancy. On Valentina, healed her. Calm down, Messianus. Not all necromancy spells relate to the undead. Healing spells are also from the school of necromancy. Healing spells? Oh, it was from the time she healed that cut. Could that person be a student? Sorry, I just remembered there's something else I have to do. I'll be right back. Hey, come back here! She ran away again. I can catch her. There's no way she can outrun me. No, the Inquisition's still stationed around the surrounding areas. Probably intervene if we started harassing one of the witnesses. That's true. We weren't even learn anything. Actually, I did learn one thing. She has a friend who cast a healing spell on her. Really? How'd you figure that out? Good deductive reasoning. Wow. Well, healing magic is also a form of necromancy, right? Guess that explains the trace on her. It's a good thing we know Wallace. Otherwise, we might have also thought that a necromancer was trying to kill her. Wait a minute. That's it! What? Did you figure something out? This whole time, we've been wondering why there's a trace of necromancy on the body. It isn't because someone attacked Bellwether with a necromancy spell. It's because someone used necromancy in an attempt to heal her. There you go, baby! Oh, I see. It doesn't matter what type of necromancy spell someone uses. Spells from the same school of magic leave the same type of trace. Not just that, the body clearly has blood on it. What happened if someone used a healing spell on a wounded body? It'd close all that body's wounds. In other words, it would remove any cuts or bruises. Interrogating Valentina may be a dead end, but it still gave us just what we needed to win this case. I'm not so sure that was a dead end. What do you mean? It's not suspicious that she asked someone to heal her if she injured herself. But it's only that. Why go through so much trouble to hide it? It's too coincidental. The wounds on the body were healed by an unknown person. And the person who found that body is hiding the identity of a healer. They have to be the same person. I guess that makes sense. So what do we do now? Valentine is definitely on to us. I doubt we'll get a third chance to speak with her. Hopefully what we have enough is enough to acquit Wallace. You've done everything you can. Use what you can to poke holes in the prosecution's case. And if that doesn't work, you can drag Valentina onto the witness stand and pull the truth out of her. You just hope that what she's hiding is enough to acquit Wallace. Oh. Hi, Weiss! I demand to know why you're still holding on to my rapier. It's a precious family heirloom and I want it back. It's evidence in the current case. Evidence? The professor was killed with necromancy. Was she, though? What are you asking me? You're the one investigating this. Suppose it doesn't matter. Just know that I will bring her murderer to justice, no matter who it may be. Alright, time for the trial. Just take deep breaths and relax. Hi, Tyrion. Celeste? Don't sneak up on me like that. Why are you so nervous? It's not as if this is your first time defending someone. I can't help it. There's something about this building that just fills me with anxiety. Ugh, too bad Ruby couldn't make it. I'd say that you should calm down for Wallace's sake, but there's so many people here, and they're all staring at me. Their eyes are prying into me like a pack of flesh-eating maggots. Gross. Don't worry, Wallace. Our investigation revealed a lot of weaknesses in the prosecution's case. We have a strong case for your acquittal. Okay. See? You can be confident when you want to be. Strange. Something's calming about Wallace's anxiety. It's like he just absorbs the tension out of you and into himself. Rabble, 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 rabble. That's true. How would she know that, Maffy? Court is now in session for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Defense is also ready. Very well. Let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwind, can you please list the charges? The defendant is a student at the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. Mr. Nightgrave is charged with first-degree murder, negligent misuse of the arcane arts, and illegal practice of advanced necromancy. Necromancy? You mean to tell me the defendant is a necromancer? I can't believe it. Necromancer? In this day and age? How could the kingdom let this happen? Your Honor, I'd like to remind the court that they should view my client objectively. Of course, one can easily see it from the list of charges. Necromancy plays a large role in the charges. It is. It's incredibly convenient. But a rapier isn't exactly a good stealth murder weapon. That is... you'd see it coming. Indeed. The crime occurred within the academy this morning. The victim is Catherine Bellwether, a professor at the school. Although there are no witnesses, traces of necromancy were detected on the body. Furthermore... ooh, excuse me. Oh. The autopsy report shows that the body has no physical wounds. Wait, remember what we learned in the last case, too, that the divination is for the autopsy report. Necromancy is the only type of magic that can harm an individual without physically wounding them. Additionally, the alchemist report showed there are no signs of poison or disease. Therefore, one can only conclude that a necromancer had committed the crime. As many of you know, necromancy is held under high scrutiny from the Crown. Aside from the defendant, no other students were permitted to learn advanced necrotic magic. As such, the defendant was the only mage in the building capable of committing this murder. I see. It's certainly compelling evidence. I hate these on the jurors' bench. As gorgeous as they are, and they did a really good job making sure there's defects in the wood, it looks like my screen is wet. To properly present our case, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orem White to the stand. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings. Yeah. Here we go. It started when the City Watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Someone was attacked and the whole building was put on lockdown. And we set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. When we finally got into the building, the prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancy on it. There were no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. With only those two pieces of evidence, we concluded that the necromancer kid did it. It's just as you expected. You already found and identified holes in Sealand's case. All you have to do is find the hole in the commander's testimony. I think it's going to be that the body was clean, because the body should have been covered in blood. How carefully was the body checked? Perhaps the prosecutor missed something? The coroner couldn't even find the smallest cut, bruise, or fracture on the body. Furthermore, the alchemist, no sign of poison or disease, was actually astounded at how unscathed the body was. I'm going to go ahead and press everything, just to be safe, because, again, it's the typical Phoenix Wright problem. I know what I want to say, I don't know how to say it. What time did the call come in? A little after 3 p.m. It was a few minutes after the murder was discovered. Right? That was about the time the lockdown occurred. Can't be added manually. How secure was the perimeter? Is it possible that someone slipped past you? The Inquisition was working in conjunction with the City Watch and the King's Guard. With that many people at the scene, it's very unlikely that anyone escaped unnoticed. True. For better or worse, the kingdom will act quickly to protect the building filled with nobles. Why did the prosecutor inspect the body instead of the Inquisition? Well... And how I conducted the investigation is irrelevant to the proceedings. Or would you rather insinuate that I'm not as competent as Commander White? You don't question her competency. Still a bizarre decision on her part. While the court admits the prosecutor's actions are unorthodox, we see no reason to question the prosecutor's abilities. Thank you, Your Honor. Oops. Investigate the crime scene so we know the theory. Yeah. The prosecution believed my client used necrotic blight? Yep. It's the only way the crime scene makes any sense. Necrotic blight? I'm afraid I never heard of the spell. Necrotic blight is a spell that drains the life force from its target. When used on a living human, it makes their bodily functions cease, instantly killing them. I see. What a horrible spell. That child should have never been allowed to learn something like that. What were they thinking? Having that spell is not doing Wallace any favors. Blah, blah, blah. Alright. Wee bit of save scumming, because I know what I want to say. I want to point out that the body wasn't clean. The place was loaded with blood. Objection! Commander White. Appears you neglected to mention one key detail of the crime scene. Yeah? And what's that? During your testimony, you said the entire body was clean. We'll admit there weren't any wounds on the body. However, the body was certainly not clean. At the scene of the crime, there was a large pool of blood located where the body was. This blood came from the victim's body, and it was definitely not clean like the commander testified. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I fail to see the significance of this. I'd like to remind the court of the prosecution's case against my client. They're accusing him of murdering the victim using necrotic blight, a spell which would not physically wounded the victim. So why was there any blood at all? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fact still stands, there were no wounds on the body, nor were there any reports of poison or disease in the autopsy. There are clearly magical elements in this case. But Catherine Bellwether was bleeding profusely at some point. How else would there be a blood stain on the body? You have an explanation for that, Miss Steelwind? No, I will admit that the prosecution does not have an explanation for that. And while I find the circumstances questionable, all other evidence clearly points to the defendant. Which spell would leave a trace of necromancy? If the victim wasn't killed with necromancy, why is there a trace of it on the body? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to present a spell that could have left a trace of necromancy on the body. Easy. Mend wounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a healing spell? Correct, Your Honor. Spells from the School of Necromancy can control the forces of life and death. Mend wounds is in fact a necromancy spell. Really now? I wasn't aware of this. Now I'd like the court to consider the following. What would happen if Bellwether was wounded and someone attempted to heal her using mend wounds? All of her wounds would disappear from her body. Let's see.
Objection!
Do you honestly think I'm that incompetent, Mr. Cuthbert? Frankly, I'm a little insulted. Inquisition is well aware of what happens when a mage attempts to save a victim using mend wounds. The healers that arrived on the scene already confirmed the victim was long dead. None of them attempted to heal her. What if someone tried to heal her and didn't report it? Please. None of the healers would have anything to gain by doing so. In fact, as a necromancer, the defendant could have easily carried out the described scenario. He could have cast mend wounds on the victim after murdering her to confound the investigation. At the end of the day, the burden of proof is on you. If you just found out who healed the body, the case is yours. Whoever this healer is, Valentina definitely knows her. Obviously, it's the sister. Your Honor, I will admit I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, I do believe we can bring it to light. There may have been two people that witnessed someone cast magic on her. Valentina and Valerie in the Inns, the sisters who discovered the body. This is nonsense. We've already questioned those two witnesses extensively. If they had witnessed something like that, it would have come up in their testimony. If that's true, then you have nothing to lose by hearing their testimony. Very well. If you're so confident, let's hear the witness testimony. Since the prosecution has no objections, however, this line of questioning leads nowhere, I'll see no further reason to prolong this trial. You understand, Mr. Cuthbert? Of course, Your Honor. Oh crap, it's that guy from before. Is he the necromancer's lawyer? You just got on the stand and she's already stressed out. It's been working in your favor. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name? Witness, there's no need to be so nervous. We merely want to hear about what you saw on the day of the murder. Right. It's just that guy over there, You mean Mr. Cuthbert? Does this man harass you, witness? Wait a minute. Yeah. He, super harassed me. How shameful. I would expect a member of our justice system to behave more professionally. Shut up. Anyway, please state your name and occupation for the court, Miss Giannis. Just calm down. He can't prove anything. My name's Valentina Giannis. I'm a member of the kitchen staff at Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. As I recall, you were one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Apparently, the defense finds your involvement suspect. Rest assured, Miss Giannis. Fear for my audio style listeners. Rest assured, Miss Giannis, in this courtroom, you will be protected from Mr. Cuthbert's harassment. Now, please testify to the court what happened that day. Yeah. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. That's when we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. When my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. It was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she'd already lost too much blood. Your theory's true. That means she just lied in her testimony. Definitely holding something back. Definitely saw more than she's letting on. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Where were the two of you coming from? We came from the kitchen. We were taking a break at the lunch rush. It is on the west side of the academy. It's believable they'd be on that side of the building. What'd you see in the classroom, Miss Giannis? Did you notice anything else strange in the lecture hall? Well, there was that terrible smell. It was awful. I almost couldn't see how because of how much I was tearing up. Other than that, I was mostly focused on the professor. Sister tried the best. Here, tried to help her. How exactly did your sister try and help Miss Bellwether? What? I slipped up. Oh, my sister used first aid to stop the bleeding. I see. Could you add that detail to your testimony? Yeah, sure. Gotcha. Let's see, where's my autopsy? Here we are. Objection! No wounds means they didn't heal it. Witness, what is the meaning of this? What? Why are you looking at me like that? Maybe I can elaborate, Miss Giannis. You weren't present at the gallery earlier, were you? No, I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Steelwind told me to wait there. Well, I suppose I should consider myself lucky. You see, Miss Giannis, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it. Yeah, so? So please explain to the court, Miss Giannis. How did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body? What? I screwed up. But I saw that wound on her. What happened? It's clearly something I missed here. But I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implications of this. Are you accusing the witness of creating perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? When someone lies, they say as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thoughts, she said that she was sure she saw a wound on Bellwether. She also mentioned that Valerie was the one that tried to save the professor. She didn't try and save Bellwether of first aid because she had used magic instead. Her sister could be the mage you're looking for. The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie Giannis did try and save the victim's life by addressing her wounds. But she didn't use first aid, she used magic. No, he found us out? Why are they hiding that her sister can heal? I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but your theory is completely flawed. How so, Miss Steelwind? Well, it's quite simple. We've already verified that neither of the sisters are mages. What? Wait, how can you be so sure? During the investigation, we had both the Honest sisters attuned to a spell compendium. Standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing witnesses. That means... it's correct. Neither of the Honest sisters could attune to a compendium. Ha! That's right. The Inquisition checked us both. Neither of us are mages. That was close. You wrong about Valerie being a mage, then? No, that can't be right. Her thought said he found us out. That means you were on the right track. Valerie has to be the mage you're looking for. Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell compendium and avoid attuning to it? No, it just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure I did the attunement correctly. There's no way a mage could avoid attuning to a compendium with them watching you. Right. Commander White may be negligent sometimes, but even he isn't that careless. If you're done, I do believe you exhausted all your options. Wait, I'm still not done cross-examining the witness. What could you possibly hope to glean from her testimony? Valentina should be stressed out enough to me seeing more of her thoughts. But you can't say you're planning to read her mind. There's one key element of her testimony the court is overlooking. I have a right as an attorney to complete my cross-examination. Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time. I might be compelled to agree with you. However, I'll also admit that some elements of the witness testimony are quite peculiar. I'll allow the defense to perform one more cross-examination. That's close. But know this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you produce nothing substantial, I will pass my verdict. Of course, Your Honor. It's all or nothing. If you can't find anything by reading her mind, this whole case is finished. Witness, please give your testimony once more. Damn it. How long does he plan to keep me up here? Okay. Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. We rushed over to her. I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. Now you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. Can't go back on that now. I just need to play dumb. My sister tried to save her, but she didn't use any magic. Valerie, you're too kind-hearted for your own good. Neither of us is a mage. Both of us held that book. Both of us held that book the knights gave us. Huh. I was caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. Aha! There it is. Yep. Math. You're a genius, baby. It's a good thing we're twins, or that trick wouldn't have worked. I wouldn't even have thought of it if she hadn't said it. Math, you're better at this than me. What are we gonna do? I have a pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage. Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. Just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition. More importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? No. Good call, Maffy.
Objection!
Messianis, your thoughts betray you. What? You found the thought. They must have done something, but what? Must have happened when Commander White was interrogating them. Olin was the one that corrected their statements. Did he notice anything off about that? That's right! From what he said, they had a few quirks, but nothing too suspicious. Quirks? He told me they were running and spinning around him during questioning. So they were shell gaming him. Running and spinning. Her thoughts also said it's a good thing we're twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? Did that pick up? That means their so-called trick wouldn't have worked if they weren't twins. Valentina switched places with Valerie. Of course, they switched places! Valentina attuned to the first spell compendium, then she pretended to be Valerie to attune to the second one. Commander White couldn't tell the difference. Messianis, there's something I want to confirm. During the investigation, both you and Valerie attuned to a spell compendium. Am I correct? Yeah, Knight watched us do it. How did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compendiums at the same time? Or did you attune one after the other? What? No way. Does he know what he did? I fail to see how that makes any difference, Mr. Cuthbert. Yes, I agree. The spell compendiums would work regardless of what order they went in. You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie are identical twins, which means that their physical appearances are nearly identical. If Commander White didn't have them attuned at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with each other?
Objection!
And this is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Orem wouldn't fail at such a basic task. Really, Prosecutor Steelwind, do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this? Wait a minute, this is crazy. We didn't trick the Inquisition. My sister and I are not mages. Then prove it, Messianis. Bring in your sister, we'll have you attuned to 2 spell compendiums at the same time. No, wait. Order in the court. It's clear we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Bailiff, escort Valerie Ionis to the stand and bring 2 unattuned spell compendiums. Math's good. She actually caught that well before the game. They both had their hands on those compendiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can fake it in front of this many people. Moment of truth. Can only hope your theory's correct. No. Did he seriously? What is it, Prosecutor Steelwind? What do you see? What I see is Commander White seeking out new employment in the near future. It appears the defense was correct. Valentina Ionis isn't a mage, but Valerie Ionis is. What's more, Valerie Ionis' compendium contains the Mend Wound spell, which makes the defense's theory entirely plausible. Please, just allow me to explain. And we should allow you to explain what, exactly? You're an unregistered mage. You and your sister have made fools of us all with your perjury. How would you know what it's like, Lady Steelwind? What? Do you think we didn't notice your name? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. Whatever. This whole situation's gotten out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause so much trouble. And I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell you what really happened that day. Very well. But understand there will be repercussions for your actions, witness. Yes, I know. My sister and I were walking in the hallway from the kitchen to the foyer. Then I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in her nearby classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw she was bleeding, so I cast Mend Wounds to close her wounds. It was too late. I closed the hole in her stomach, but she was already dead. There was a hole in her stomach? Your Honor, as you can clearly see from the witness's testimony, the trace of necromancy was left by the witness, not my client. What's more, it's clear there was a physical wound on the body. I see. Well, his words trail off. He clearly doesn't want to pass a verdict when there's no clear culprit. But he has no choice. The case against Wallace is predicated on Bellwether being killed by necromancy. With Valerie's testimony, the prosecution doesn't have a shred of evidence implicating him. Very well. The court sees no reason to prolong this trial. With these new developments, the court has no choice but to find Wallace Nightgrave not...
Objection!
I believe the court is ignoring one key detail of the witness's testimony. What would that be, Miss Steelwind? Let's re-examine the witness's testimony. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw she was bleeding, so I cast Mend Wounds on her to close her wounds. It was too late. I closed the hole in her stomach, but she was already dead. The communication device that Valentina Yanis used logs the time of day during each use. From this log, we know that Valentina used this device at 3:04 p.m. This was an hour after the time of death. Where are you going with this? Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found. Jan Hughes. Nice try. No way in hell. If it was Animate Dead, she couldn't talk. Get the fuck out my courtroom. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallways before the body was found. Was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase. There were shards and dirt everywhere. Probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. 20 to 30 minutes before the body was found. Do you see the discrepancy, Mr. Cuthbert? Wait, that can't be right. Bellwether died more than an hour before the body was found. So how did Jan see her a half hour after her death? I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, how could one make a dead body move and walk around? No, you can't mean... There's more than one piece of evidence pointed at a necromancer committing a crime. The defendant murdered the victim and used necromancy to animate her corpse. A dead? Created within the Imperial Academy? And Sybil. Ridiculous. She had a hole in her stomach when the twins found her. Jan Hughes would have noticed that. Animate corpse stops the flow of blood. Does it? Here. It does not say that it does that. Nowhere does it say. So she wouldn't have tracked blood anywhere. The defendant is also proficient with illusion magic. He could have easily used an illusion magic to hide the undead Bellwether's wounds. But another party could easily use illusion magic to disguise themselves as the victim. If that were true, how did they move the body to the classroom? Miss Steelwind, if your theory is true, it would mean that the murder occurred elsewhere. Would the Inquisition happen to know where? Regrettably, we do not. Then the prosecution case against my client is still faulty. You can't convict my client without more evidence. I agree with Mr. Cuthbert. With this new development, the court sees fit to suspend the trial for the time being. I can prove that's a fucking wrong, though! We'll give law enforcement time to investigate these unknowns. Court proceedings to this trial will resume tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. I don't think we're finishing this tonight, y'all. Hey, are you feeling okay? Body seen moving an hour after death. Clearly wasn't Bellwether. At the very least, she wasn't alive when it happened. So what is it? It's a There's only one thing it can be, you idiot. Tyrion? There's illusion magic involved. There has to be. But what spell was it? Could it have been an illusory disguise? Tyrion! Ah! What? He's been quiet since the trial ended. Hold on, let me check something. Suits of armor animated. It does not say if the armor is empty or not. Because what I'm thinking right now... No, because... It was definitely an arcane construct that was disguised as her. And I'm thinking it was used to transport the body. That wherever they killed her, they stuffed the body into the construct. How does construct again? What do you mean, baby? You've been real quiet since the trial ended. You're making me worried. Sorry. I was just thinking about what Steelwind said. You mean about her theory? It's a little creepy when you think about it. You really think someone turned the professor into an undead? I don't think so. The prosecution's case is hinged on one clear fact. That Wallace was the only high-level necromancer nearby. We have to assume he's the one person capable of using that type of magic. But then how was she walking around? I don't know. Make any sense. But it's a given that Wallace didn't touch the body, so we can discount the use of high-level necromancy. No matter what, someone used an illusion. Aren't there spells that can create freestanding illusions? Not just disguises? I honestly don't know. We need to talk to someone who knows about that type of magic. Wait, didn't Eris say she was studying illusion magic? She might be able to tell us if something like that's possible. Is that really a good idea? What do you mean? What if she's the one that created the illusion? What? You're detecting fear from her again. Celeste, are you scared of Eris? Of, what, Construct Hun? Oh, no. That would you're probably thinking of Illusionary Disguise or Revive, but the constructs were suits of armor in the library. Well, it just says suits of armor animated using artifice. They can carry out simple tasks when ordered to. The ones in the Imperial Academy speak using the voice of Catherine Bellwether. These voice lines can only be changed or adjusted by the Academy headmaster. Every command is given to a construct is stored in its command log, but it must be cleared regularly. So, here's the library, here's the headmaster's office. So she had to have gone... So what we're saying, the prosecution is saying she went from here over here. She definitely spoke with the headmaster. We have confirmation of that. We definitely saw her go from the headmaster's office. So, from here to the headmaster. Know that. After that, all we know is that her body wound up way over here. Sorry, where's 2B? Way over here. I think the storage closet is something to think about because it's too... I agree. I think it's the headmaster too. It's either the headmaster or Eris. Eris, having her ability to manipulate reality is really weird though. But at the same time, I think that's a bit too on the nose. Oh. Hey, hon. Look at the headmaster's arcane art. It's illusion. So yeah, headmaster did it. And I even know... so we have means, motive, and... well, we don't have means. We do have motive and... oh my god, an opportunity. That's it. We have motive and opportunity. We don't have means yet. What? No. I saw it this morning too. I always get really scared when she's around. I thought I was doing a better job of hiding it. Sorry, it's not based on anything, but for years I've been working as a mercenary. When you do that kind of work, you build up an instinct to sense danger. You kind of have to if you want to stay alive. Sorry, I never knew. Tyrion, I fought literal monsters and barely escaped with my life. But when I'm near Eris, none of those creatures can even come close. I get these feeling. It's like I'm in front of a predator I can't ever hope to be. Okay, Eris is that voice, that woman that we've been seeing in our dreams. No doubt. It fits with her rewriting, and it fits with Celeste's instinct. Headmaster's definitely the one that did it, though. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she's close by. Really? She doesn't seem that dangerous. I know. I think maybe I'm just anxious or something. I should know better than anyone not to judge people by their appearance. Sorry, forget I said anything. If you think we should talk to her, then we should do that. You're not one to discount Celeste's instinct. She's always been reliable, and if Eris is making her scared, that must mean something. But if Eris really is that dangerous, that's all the more reason to talk to her. Aside from that, there's something else the prosecutor said. Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found, Jan Hughes. Yeah, she mentioned a second witness. That's what I'm thinking, baby. And I'm betting it's in either the bodies... Well, I'm betting it's in the storage room. And I'm betting the murder was in there. Here's the thing, though. If that's all true, right? The headmaster's office would have had to have illusion magic in it. And I did check. It means there's another witness that saw Bellwether walking around. Right. Jan probably isn't the most reliable witness, so talking to that other person might help us figure out what happened. You think Steelwind will tell us who the witness was? At this point, we won't lose anything by trying. So where should you start first? True. Let's not forget she has that ability. Tyrion? What are we doing here? I'm not sure. For some reason, you felt drawn to this place. Eris again! Wait, is that Eris? Celeste points further into the cemetery. There, you see Eris standing in front of a gravestone. She's placing flowers on it. It appears to be chanting a short prayer. Well, we found her. We should probably talk to her later. It'd be rude to disturb her now. As you're about to leave, Eris suddenly turns to face you. She's far away, but you can see you beckoning her beckoning you over. Hello there. Were you two looking for me? Sorry, we were looking for you, but we understand if you'd rather talk later. No, I was just finishing up here. Do you have something you wanted to talk to me about? Well, we wanted to ask you some questions about the case. Oh? That was my first time watching a court trial. You were truly remarkable. Thank you. Were you in the gallery? I've always enjoyed watching physical battles in the theater, but now I see that battles of wits can be just as entertaining to watch. Hey, Lemur. Gay men like Sony, yep, lesbian savory, transgender for both, stereotypes. That's a good one. Entertaining? Yeah, I know what you mean. You see the odds are all stacked against him, but then he suddenly pulls out this crazy deduction and steers the trial in his favor. I've never really thought about it like that. But I'm sure it's far more entertaining to be the one making the deductions. I'm not really sure what you mean. I practice law so I can help those persecuted by a justice system. I don't really do it to entertain myself. But is that really true? Yep! Yeah, we saw that. Don't you find the experience even the least bit interesting, Tyrion? I wouldn't put it that way. You're far too modest. You save people from the clutches of death. To your clients, you might as well be a knight in shining armor. Earlier you said you were studying illusion magic. I am. You want to ask me about the prosecution's theory? Yes, actually. How'd you know? It was easy to guess after seeing you in the courtroom. Anyway, disguising an undead with an illusion is definitely possible. And as Lady Steelwind said, illusionary disguise would be the best spell to use for that. What if someone created a freestanding illusion? A freestanding illusion? Yeah. We know that Wallace didn't animate and disguise the Professor's corpse, so what if the illusion wasn't disguising anything? Maybe someone created a freestanding illusion of Bellwether walking around. For something like that, one would probably use Major Illusion. Three-dimensional illusion can take the form of any object or creature contained in a 10-foot cube. While concentrating, the caster can animate and move the image to a different location within range. What is the range? Purely visual and can't be touched. Worthless because it did get touched. What is it? I don't think Major Illusion is what we're looking for. Remember what Jan said? Yeah, bumped into her. And the vase. But if the bellwether that Jan saw was a major illusion, she couldn't have knocked over the vase. Illusions created by that spell don't have mass. I see. How perceptive of you. Aren't there any illusion spells that do have mass? No. Illusions can only recreate visual and auditory sensations. But there isn't a single spell that someone can touch. So that means someone disguised something to make it look like Bellwether. Thank you for catching up. Why the look of suspicion, Celeste? Sorry, I wasn't... Calm down, I'm only joking. I don't blame you for considering every possibility. In fact, I'm flattered you think I'm capable of pulling off such an elaborate ruse. Anyway, this does tell us one important thing. What's that? The Bellwether that Jan saw had a physical mass to it. It wasn't a freestanding illusion. It was someone or something disguised as Bellwether. Yes, we know. It's quite a shame, isn't it? Eris looks pensively at the gravestone. Emily Grant, there it is. That we saw that in the not prequel, but like the cold open. The name on the stone says Emily Grant. Her lifetime appeared to be awfully short. She must have been only 12 years old when she died. Sorry for interrupting. Was she someone you knew? Not personally. I'm actually here on Wallace's behalf. Wallace knew her? Wallace joined the Academy as part of a program run by Headmaster Redmond. At the time, the Headmaster was reaching out to mages among the common folk. He had started a program to admit these mages to the Academy without having to pay tuition. Both Emily and Wallace were amongst those mages. It must have been an amazing opportunity for them. Truth is, neither of them actually cared about learning magic. Okay, I guess Wallace could have told her this, but... doubt. Big doubt. The real problem was that Emily had a terminal illness. She and Wallace were poor orphans, and they obviously didn't have the resources to treat it. But if they enrolled in the Academy would be obligated to give her medical treatment. The Imperial Academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom, and they thought that curing her illness would be an easy task for the Academy's healers. But they were mistaken, I'm afraid. I'm sure you know this by now, but healing spells can only treat wounds. They can't cure illnesses. Emily's condition only got worse over the years, and eventually she succumbed to her illness. Wallace was furious. He didn't understand why the kingdom was outlawing magic that could save lives. That's why he decided to learn it himself. Okay, god damn it, Lemur, that one's good. The Headmaster was inspired by Wallace's resolve. He gave him access to the Academy's forbidden tomes of necromancy, and Wallace taught himself the spells he knows today. So that's why. Excuse me. Oh, so sorry. It was supposed to stay a secret between him and the Headmaster. And I'm sure you know how that turned out. You need to stop that shit. Oh, it's you, Mr. Cuthbert. Steelwind? What are you doing here? After what happened at the trial yesterday, I decided it would be best to start my investigation here. Right, Wallace was in the library for the entire morning. So it makes sense that she'd start a search here. Actually, since I have you here, have you seen Eris Ilmater anywhere? It's my understanding that you're both acquainted with each other. Eris? What do you want with her? It's not for anything serious, mind you. It's just that Oath of a Commander lost her spell compendium. Now we need her to produce another one for our records. If you see her, please let her know we'd like to speak to her. We saw her earlier in the cemetery nearby, but I have no idea where she is now. Once again, I have to compensate for that idiot's mistakes. Anyway, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case. Very well, I suppose I still need to honor our deal from earlier. Any luck finding the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, I haven't. From the witnesses' testimonies, we have a rough idea of the route Bellwether took. None of the rooms we've checked have any signs of a struggle. Why are you so sure that a struggle happened? I'm mainly basing that off the Honest Sister's testimonies. Valerie, in particular, noticed the bleeding came from a wound in her stomach. Regrettably, the body's wounds were mental, so we can't determine what kind of weapon the murderer used. Who was the other witness? During the trial, you mentioned that another witness saw Bellwether walking around yesterday. Would you be willing to tell us who that person is? I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that. You're caught a little off guard. I'm pretty transparent with your investigation so far. What's changed? I have no obligation to justify myself to you, nor do I have an obligation to help the opposition. Didn't we have a deal? Hiding information doesn't exactly seem fair to us. I believe I've given you plenty of information already. So regardless of what I said before, the answer is still no. Her family is dangerous. The Eye of Horus catches a stray thought. Family is dangerous? What does that mean? Is there something about this witness's family you're worried about? No. This could be a feint. I'm sorry, but you'll have to try harder than that if you want to bluff me. Interesting. Her family is dangerous. Why would she go to such length to hide from the witness's identity? In any case, it looks like she's not willing to share more at the time. Try looking somewhere else. Locker room. You spend some time wandering around the academy when you overhear a conversation from a nearby room. I understand, Miss Steelwind has already moved the investigation elsewhere. How long must I wait before I can retrieve my things? Sorry, old-timer. Orders are orders. Nothing comes in or out until this case is over and done with. Commander White? The headmaster, too? Oh, hello, Mr. Cuthbert. Hey, kid. In any case... excuse me. Huh. That's actually a surprise to me, Lemur. It's the one with the rapier! Yes, hon. Please inform me when I can reclaim my things. Although, hon, notice how the headmaster just dips as soon as we show up. Sure. Looks like Commander White's standing guard in front of the locker room. Doesn't look like he's conducting any sort of investigation. Is he here on Steelwind's orders? I'd be able to tell you who the secret witness is. What was the headmaster talking to you about? Supposedly he has some items stored in one of the... Supposedly he has items stored in one of the faculty lockers. Problem is, Steelwind said no one gets in or out of the room. Except for her and you two, apparently. Won't even let the other knights in here. Thank you, Lemur. You have a good night, brother. Really? Really? Is that normal? Nope. Things rarely are when she's calling the shots. Why would she give you access to the crime scene if she's not even letting the knights in? Steelwind's orders. I don't know what her deal is, but she's been acting strange lately. Been real paranoid, that girl. Frankly, I can't tell what's going through her head. You mentioned the prosecutor's been paranoid lately. You think it has something to do with this case? Nah, started way before that. Lately, she's been using the Inquisition to investigate a lot of non-magical homicides. What? Wouldn't it be easier to work with the relevant law enforcement for that? I don't know why, but she's convinced these cases have magic involved. We scanned each and every one of those crime scenes. Nothing turned up. Gotta say, though, if it weren't for the scans, I might actually agree with her. Why do you say that? Those homicides. I've never seen anything like them. Probably some of the most screwed up cases I've ever handled. One of those cases, we got ourselves a disgruntled spouse. Found out her man was going around with a barkeep, and you know what the spouse does? She stalks the poor woman. Starts leaving threatening notes all around where she worked. The barkeep told the city watch all about what was happening. But no matter how much they staked at the tavern, they could never catch the perp. Then one day, the barkeep arrived home, but little did she know, the spouse was waiting there for her. Poor lady never had a chance. To tie the whole thing together, the spouse waits for her husband to get home. She cooks him a big roast, using the barkeep's remains. Rose, this sounds like your true crime shit. Wow, that story is pretty... I don't know. Steelwind thinks someone's developed a new type of magic that can control people's minds. And these homicides were some sort of sick test run. Magic that can control people's minds? Well, why wouldn't Mage Blight make more sense? Mage Blight? Well, when a mage overuses their magic, it can have pretty bad consequences on their mind. When they temporarily lose grip of reality, begin seeing things that aren't there. When a mage becomes like that, it almost never ends well. They enter a frenzy and begin firing spells randomly, which only makes it worse. I've seen my fair share of Mage Blade cases, and this isn't like that. Not all the perps were mages, and the ones that were didn't even use their magic. One thing that each of the perps seemed to wake up after we arrested them. All of them said things like, "It wasn't me," or "I didn't have a choice." I didn't have a choice? What could that mean? Doubt it means anything. Sometimes people can't face the things they've done. Easier to say you had no control than to take responsibility. I wonder if you can mislead the commander in revealing who the secret witness is. During the trial, Miss Steelwind mentioned someone that other than Jan Hughes saw Bellwether walking around. You seen them around lately? We wanted to speak with them. Nice try, kid. No, it was worth a shot. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. I don't think anyone other than Steelwind knows who this witness is. I sure as hell don't. She's even hiding it from the Inquisition commander? Why is she being so secretive? Looks like the commander doesn't know who the secret witness is either. This isn't getting us anywhere. Steelwind's behavior is strange, though. Maybe you could try analyzing her behavior. Do that, you might be able to find a way to convince her. Alright. Steelwind's behavior has been strange this time around. She's hiding elements of the case, even from the commander. Anyone can tell she doesn't have that much faith in him. I'm standing right here. But this is the first time I've ever seen her hide key details of the case from him. What's motivating Steelwind to keep secrets? Just the ways that she's being so secretive. Paranoia? Must be driven by paranoia. She's been hoarding information about the case. There's only one reason she wouldn't utilize the Inquisition like she normally does. She doesn't trust them. I hate to say it, but that doesn't really surprise me. She's always been standoffish with us. There is one exception. Who is Steelwind trusted for this case? There's individuals she's trusted more than the Inquisition. Steelwind and the commander, hun? Tyrion and Celeste. She let us investigate crime scenes without any restrictions. Yeah, I never really thought of that. Does she trust us that much? I don't think personal trust is the reason. Why does Steelwind trust us this time? We don't usually interact with her, and she's worked with the Inquisition on plenty of cases that we weren't even involved in. Let's see. Because Steelwind is a member of the nobility. No. We don't answer anyone we aren't. Ah! Isn't. Wallace, because Tyrion isn't a member of the nobility. What? Controlled by... Same thing. I'm willing to bet that Steelwind and the woman are... Yeah, they're related somehow. Noble families know each other. Might not be like sisters or something, but we'll find out. Steelwind doesn't know much about us, but she does know we aren't prone to noble connection. Or corruption. Right, you indicted a noble in the last case. Meanwhile, the Inquisition usually bends on the nobility's whims. I can't argue with you there. What can you infer about the secret witness? That she's nobility. Using my insight, I can tell that she's worried about the witness's family. If she's worried about corruption of the nobility, that can only mean one thing. The witness is a noble. Has to belong to a noble family. That's why she's so wary of interference. But we're obviously not going to do anything corrupt. Why is she hiding the witness's identity from us? The thought that her family is dangerous. I think she's worried about our safety. Yeah, I guess harassing a noble could put you in danger. But I'm the protege of the infamous Ruby Timora. Yeah, it's not as if we aren't already on the nobility's bad side. I'm sure the Pierce family still has it out for us. This can only mean the family we're dealing with is even more powerful than House Pierce. If the prosecution is wary of them, they could even be as powerful as the Steelwinds. Wait, don't tell me you think we're dealing with one of the Four Pillars. Four Pillars? It's a name people use for the top four noble houses. Families stand at the top of the kingdom's aristocracy. If I recall correctly, the Four Pillars are House Freyga, House Von Sanctus, House Sybil, and House Steelwind. Steelwind is one of them? Yeah, which makes it so much weirder she's serving as a prosecutor. What is it? Steelwind's weird behavior started after she investigated this room. We were all at the crime scene, and she left to follow a lead. An hour later, she came back to the lecture hall and booted everybody out. Her behavior changed after investigating this room. That means she found something here. And that something must point to a family from the Four Pillars. The commander looks a bit anxious. You know, Steelwind's orders say I can't snoop around here. But you two, on the other hand, don't worry, just leave it to us. I have some school records that say which locker would belong to which student. You can use it to tell whose locker you're looking at. Oh, thanks, buddy. There's an arcane construct in the back here. Probably here to aid the students. Anyway, I don't think it's relevant. Yes, it is. Alright, there we go. Look at Wallace's locker. Fragrant liquid and something that looks like a makeup kit. Interesting. Miriam Frege. Worn out textbooks and notebook. Wait a minute. These all have Wallace's name on them? Oh! They flipped them again. We already know. Tyrion, take a look at this. That's blood? Stain of blood inside Wallace's locker. Jaden Von Sanctus, several bottles of some kind of transparent lotion. Why is there... Diddy? No, we're not making Diddy jokes. Don't touch those with your hands. Some kind of sanitizing liquid. Neatly stacked deck of tarot cards. Steelwind found something in one of the lockers. Whose locker had the most suspicious evidence? Wallace, or no, Frege's. Now, how did we look at it? We found some insanely suspicious thing in Frege's locker. Had Wallace's notebook and even some blood. That blood is certainly strange. It implies something bloody was stored there. Think someone stole it? No, actually. I think it was Steelwind who took it. Alright. Orm mentioned she investigated this room. She must have taken the bloody rapier as evidence. Agreed, hun. Fully agree with you on that one. With that said, there's something else strange about Miriam Frege's locker. It had a lot of Wallace's possessions. It's possible she really did steal it, but it's more likely this locker isn't actually hers. Remember what Wallace told us before? Sometimes the other students would steal the ID number off my locker. Then they'd switch it with the number of another locker. I thought it was funny when the student who owned it got angry at me. So, someone switched the nameplates? Means this isn't Miriam Frege's locker, it's Wallace's. But that would mean the bloody object came from Wallace's locker. Appears so. Even if that's true, why didn't Steelwind present the bloody item during the trial? I proved that Bellwether was wounded before Valerie healed her. Wouldn't that have been the perfect time to present what she found? It was a bloody item found in the defendant's locker, after all. She could have easily proved the nameplates were switched too. Right, that is weird. Something more to this you aren't seeing, but what? Just have to ask Steelwind. Okay, I was seeing if I could scan for magic. Oh, you're back. We've encountered a few things during our investigation. Miss Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Frege? I underestimated him. I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff. It's not a bluff, Miss Steelwind. I'll prove it using the evidence we've gathered. Blah, blah. Yes, are you? You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Please just tell me, why are you being so paranoid? See, Steelwind is extremely logical and won't accept arguments not supported by evidence. However, she's been secretive lately and her actions seem to be stemmed from paranoia. She's uneasy about case elements related to Miriam Frege, very inclined to hide Frege's involvement at all costs. I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. Nothing about my behavior has changed. I've approached this case objectively, just like I have with every other case. No, you haven't! Oh. Steelwind's orders. You've ordered the Knights to stay away from the crime scene, and you've even taken it upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. That's not normal behavior for a prosecutor. It was her orders that I had to pull up. I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How can I possibly trust him with anything? The Knights are incompetent, but even you can see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you still delegated tasks to the Inquisition, and you could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had good reason. Then why don't you enlighten me? Why would I act in such a way? What would cause me to behave so strangely? Now I think it's the Four Pillars. Yep. You know the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to the nobility, so what would happen if a powerful noble were publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A high-profile noble is involved in this case, Steelwind, and I believe that noble is Miriam Frege. Again with this. Do you think you could bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrett Pierce. I said it before and I'll say it again. My investigation doesn't involve the Freges. Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Frege. Now it's the evidence in Frege's locker. Then how do you explain this, Steelwind? The commander told us you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers of students from the Four Pillar families, and we found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Frege's ID number. That was presumably left a bloody object. Someone else planted it, though. The headmaster planted it. But why? The bloody object was taken by someone, and we heard that you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say you took the bloody object as evidence. And what evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims? What? The only thing you have is evidence of a bloodstain. There's a myriad of explanations for that. Everything else you mentioned is pure speculation. You can't prove that piece of evidence exists. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. If you don't present what you found on the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker to the stand. That's ridiculous. We both know the locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightbring. Can you unequivocally prove that, Miss Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Miss Frege onto the witness stand. But if we had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that. Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. Suppose I don't have a choice, do I? Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I'll admit, Miriam Frege was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day. Let's see, I had some suspicions, but there's also another matter. Steelwind looks uneasy. When I was investigating the body, I found this. Evidence of academic dishonesty. A tightly packed folder containing several documents. Documents contain evidence detailing multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of school officials, and various offenses created by Miriam Frege. It looks like Miriam's been cheating at school. Would Bellwether have something like this? No way it's arranged, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frege is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She's won a litany of awards, and she'll most certainly graduate with honors. And you think that he tried to implicate her because she's cheated. These files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. You think the professor was trying to threaten her? So? But when I discovered this, several elements of the case were still unknown. I decided to look through her belongings, and mistakenly looked through the locker with her ID. I found this in that locker. The rapier. Covered in blood, found in Wallace Nightbring's locker, valuable heirloom for House Frege. Reported stolen by Miriam weeks before the murder. It's very likely this is the murder weapon. The rapier is a valuable family heirloom from House Frege. A few weeks ago, Miriam reported the rapier was stolen from her room. And who would have access to her room? The headmaster. And it was found in Wallace's locker. Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court? To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frege by any means necessary. I knew it! You're just protecting her, aren't you? Miss McCoy, do you recall how Wyvern Guard's justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need to unequivocally prove they didn't commit a crime. To do that, they need a solid alibi, or we need to prove someone else committed the crime. What do you suppose will happen if you bring on Miriam Frege onto the stand? House Frege won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant, and they'll use the Inquisition to do so. So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation. Can't you do anything? The Steel Winds are powerful too, aren't they? I don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor. Nothing more. Steelwind, you know this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and just let us win. Celeste! If we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? What if Miriam Frege is the real killer? Her sword isn't a murder weapon, and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. As a prosecutor, it's not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption, even if it's to encounter corruption from another noble. I'm sorry. I know where Miriam is right now. Didn't you hear what I just said? You can't let her think there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frege down on you. Regardless, I can't do anything about Wallace unless I know what happened. Frege has the last piece I need to put everything together. I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory is room 107. I imagine she'll be there, considering classes are suspended. Thank you, Steelwind. If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably just find out using some other means. Please, Mr. Cuthbert, be careful. Yo! Gorgeous room. The door leading inside seems a lot more ornately decorated than the other doors. You go to knock on the door, but don't realize it's only partially closed. Oh god, no, please don't. You push the door wide open. Okay, so she's dressed, thank god. Excuse me, how dare you barge into my room? These insects have no respect. Sorry, I meant to knock, but Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room. Acknowledged. From the corner of the room, an arcane construct stands up and starts making its way towards you. Before you can press, it raises its fist to hit you. Ooh! You only have enough time to raise your arms and brace yourself for the impact. You close your eyes and wait for the blow. But instead, you hear the clang of steel against steel. Confused, you open your eyes and see Celeste standing between you and the construct. Her sword is drawn and she's using it to block the construct fist. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the student stares curiously at her. Construct, stand down. Acknowledged. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware this was your servant. Celeste looks angry but puts her sword away without a word. I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If she has a personal attendant, she must be important. What? You see an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste gives you a puzzled look, but you make a silent gesture back. After a moment, she seems to realize what you're doing. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frege? Yes, I'm honored that you recognize me. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss Celeste. Celeste, she catches herself and pauses for an awkward moment. Steelwind. I'm Celeste Steelwind. You can't believe her. There's no way she's gonna... Steelwind? It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. She must be from a branch family. Maybe I can use her. Wait, she's actually buying this? I love Celeste Steelwind. I just moved in, and I thought that I should introduce myself. Seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjugation. Conjuration. Yes. Oh, there's no backing out now. Miss Frege, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the... Excuse me. I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak. Celeste is still smiling, but you can faintly hear her grinding her teeth. So, we heard about what happened with Professor Bellwether. Can't believe it. Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She's always been an acquaintance of House Frege. She appears to be more receptive, Celeste. Might be better to let her take the lead on the questioning. We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened? Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? If you don't mind my asking, why are you so interested? She's not like Arya, is she? Oh, you know, I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes, being a noble and all. Alright, tone it down. Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going down the same path as that poor, confused Arya. What does she mean by that? But I'm in the middle of a study break anyway. I suppose I have some time to state your curiosity. Construct, please prepare some tea. Use the lotus tea we imported from the ancient kingdoms. She could be useful if I can win her favor. Acknowledged. Lotus tea? You have lotus juice? You feel like you're slowly losing control of the situation? I heard you saw the professor on the day of the murder. Where did this happen? I was in the hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. Okay. She was heading towards the library. Do you remember what time this happened? I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting a little too absorbed in my work. Sometimes I'll let entire hours pass without noticing. Do you have a rough idea, at least? I think it was in the morning. Yeah, no. But anyway, did anything seem off about her? No, it was a short encounter. Afraid, though. I merely greeted her, and she responded in kind. Or at least that's what should have happened. That thought just now. What does it mean? You slowly glance at Celeste and catch her attention. In small motions, you shake your head to indicate Miriam's holding something back. Were you and Professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean to the other students. Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not to students like us. She was a great ally to House Frege. Or at least she used to be. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster. Wait, what did you say? Did you just say you were planning your family was going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frege holds several seats on the Academy board. We were making plans to have her replace that lout Redmond. They were going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Of course not. It was part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we were also going to replace all the staff members with Arcane Construct. We knew that. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left prematurely. And where would that leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the construct. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan, or was Jan lying about how he found out? But alas, with Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans. So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as the evidence for the case. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. My father will have my head if I don't get it back soon. How did it even become part of the investigation anyway? I don't know. Arya won't tell me anything. I swear, if that necromancer was the one that stole it, I'll execute him myself. So someone did steal it from you? Yes, from right out of my room. When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Real quick, who was the one that made this? The headmaster. The headmaster set lecture hall 2B up. Someone removed the rapier from its display case in my room. How'd they get into your room in the first place? You think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. Someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. That means the thief came through one of the doors or the windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him knows just how to pick a lock. Celeste, easy girl. I've heard you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course. As an inheritor of House Frege, my grades are impeccable. I don't think she knows. I don't think she knows about the cheating. I think her family's cheating for her. That's strange. You don't see anything contradictory through the eye this time. You make a gesture to Celeste to continue pressing her. What kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic for the School of Conjuration. Just like most members of my house. School of Conjuration? It's type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation and teleportation, right? Yes, I consider myself quite the expert on the field. Why, the Crown Prince himself is as my assistant in a research study. It's nice to work with someone of my caliber. Again, no thoughts that contradict what she's saying. Does that mean she's not lying? She's smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attentions. Why would she be cheating? You said something about my wayward relative before. Are you talking about Arya? Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. But I'm sure it must pain you to see the way she's acting lately. Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. You might be right, baby, because the headmaster can order them. Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A steel wind running around a crime scene like a common knight. Well, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. Does nobility not approve of Steelwind becoming a prosecutor? He always thought it was strange. What's motivating her to do this? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because of her betrothed. Asta deserves better. Celeste's eyes perk up on hearing this. You'd be lying if you said you weren't also interested in who this Aster was. But you shoot her a stern look that tells her to stay focused. You can't risk blowing your cover for some gossip. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they only had them in the library in the locker room. This construct was a gift from House Von Sanctus. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around. They look really cool. Maybe I should get one. You should. The construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Unfortunately, there's still some issues with their intelligence. Their intelligence? You might be right. That's another possibility. There are issues when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turns to the construct, begins gesturing towards it. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, receive some plates and set them out at this table. Acknowledged. What? The construct stands up and receives Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves on the shelf. It brings them to the table you're sitting at, just like she ordered. But then, it suddenly stops moving. Wait, what happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steelwind Strike. My second command was impossible to carry out. But you noticed something else. It ignored your third command. Correct. My third command was possible to carry out. So why did it ignore that command? Constructs execute a series of commands in the order they're given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. So if a task in a series of commands is impossible, then that command will interrupt the series of commands. Exactly. Interesting. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already? It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, sure. I hope to see you around. You make your way back to the foyer with Celeste. All the time you spent, you only have a brief time before night falls. You sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We were getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely is she'll see through our ruse. Right. So why Steelwind? I don't know, I panicked! Arya's like the only noble I know. What about Pierce? I'm not using that creep's name. Well, hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing their name. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. It's also what she said about her rapier. I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She's probably trying to establish an alibi. I'm not sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? Yeah, no shot. If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, that would imply she had planned all this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her name on it? I'd understand if murder was spur of the moment, she might have used something nearby. But if this was premeditated, then the rapier would be the last weapon she'd choose. Right, I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. Doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You mean all that stuff with working with the Crown Prince? She's probably just making things up to look good. I've an insight when it comes to stuff like this. Under normal circumstances, I can usually tell when someone's lying. And a lie as grandiose as that would be something I would see through. People can subconsciously shield themselves in the eye of Horus, even if they don't know about it. But when they do that, you usually can't see any thoughts. You also saw she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. You'd have seen dissonant thoughts if she was lying about her grades. Well, I guess I'll trust your insight. What does this mean? I don't know. I mean, with everything we found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should still try and pull Miriam onto the stand. You know what? Hold on. I think I have the motive. I think the headmaster killed the professor because she caught that he was faking the evidence of cheating, and she called his ass out because she values the nobility. and she didn't want the nobility to be framed. So I don't know if he killed her or he had the construct kill her, but she gets killed, and he tries to implicate Miriam, which accidentally implicates Wallace. That's a big maybe. If you don't play your cards right, you might spook the Fregas enough to them to pay off the judge. Either way, it's getting late. We have to turn in soon. Yeah. Just hope you didn't have to acquit Wallace. We actually will end early tonight. Just because that is such a good stopping point. Nope, 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 nope. So, because, yeah, we're not finishing this case in 15 minutes, so... I'm interested. I agree with Maffey. I'm almost 100% certain the headmaster is the killer. And again, we have means, which is the fact that he can control the arcane construct. We have motive, which is him trying to protect Wallace, and by a larger extent, all of the lower class students, by murdering her as she by framing the higher up students. And then we have opportunity when she came to his office. He was one of the last people to see her alive. That's true. That could be another reason of motivation. That, as Maffey says, that he might have that she might have blurted it out. She didn't seem very well composed emotionally. In any case, next week we're probably going to continue the same thing we did this week. Do another Nuzlocke, do a... try and finish up Breath of Fire. We're pretty close to the end. And then finish up this case. And then we'll be about halfway through. Actually, technically, we're halfway through the game now. Because if there's 5 cases, we're halfway through case 2, 2.5, half. Yeah. So, thank you everybody for coming. I don't... Whether you've been lurking this whole time, whether you just are just tuning in to hear me say goodbye, I appreciate every second of everybody's eyes on my content. Because time is the resource that you can never get back. So it means a lot to me that you choose to spend it with me. So, have a good weekend, everybody. You might see me do a couple of testing streams again. No promises. But I want to try and get some new emotes or new reactions going. So, take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. And as always, stay golden.